Okay. All right. Well, glad to be with you this morning. We got a lot of topics to cover today. I have first we got to cover the Netflix, this movie that came out, apparently Cuties, with Netflix that's creating a lot of havoc. TikTok, where apparently Microsoft was supposed to be winning. It's no longer Microsoft. Oracle came out of nowhere.
We're getting
Ellison,
word that there's echo.
Yeah. That's what I.
It's already been fixed or no?
Yeah.
Okay, let us know if the echo has been fixed
Give me
or
a
not.
thumbs up. We have no.
If the echo has been fixed, just let us know if the echo has been fixed. Bad echo, they're still hearing an echo. Just let us know if there's no echo. That's better.
It's a big 10-second delay too. So.
All right, let's see. It's fine now. Okay, thank you. Awesome. Results. Sounds good.
job.
Okay. All right, so we got a lot of things to talk about today. TikTok, Cuties, Netflix, Amazon hiring 100,000 new people, Apple's iPhone launch, whether it's going to happen or not. OPEC is weaker at 60. Delta uses frequent flyer mile program to raise $6.5 billion. What a way to raise money. NVIDIA SoftBank deal, $40 billion acquisition from of ARM. And then 2 sheriffs shot point-blank execution style in California, Compton, I believe. There's some controversy there. 7 states where you can start early voting. Bloomberg committing $100 million just in Florida to help Biden win it all. And then some fires in L.A., Beverly Hills Republicans. I don't know if you saw the fires in L.A. It's pretty intense what's going on there. Trump's rally speech in Nevada. Buffett campaigned for Obama and Clinton but hasn't donated or spoken out for Biden, and no one knows why. And then Brady lost Rogan a 4-hour debate, a bunch of other things. Singapore's no destination, flights to nowhere. And then Naveed Afghani executed in Iran, which we'll cover that as well. But I think we start off with Bloomberg's $100 million. Deciding to help his brother, Joe Biden, win the state of Florida.
Brother,
Tom, what are your thoughts about that?
Okay, here's what this reminds me of. Did you watch the last season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David show on HBO? So Larry David, he goes in, Mocha Joe's a character, okay, a reappearing character. So Mocha Joe has a coffee shop. Larry David goes in there. The coffee's cold. The scone is too hard. The table's wobbly. He's upset about it, so he opens a store right next to it and calls it his spite store. Opens a coffee shop right next to it to put it out of business. I think this is all like 500% personal with Bloomberg, all right? He's writing this check. It'll probably be
personal
vaporized.
towards Trump.
Yes,
Anything
his
to be
hatred
Trump.
towards Trump.
Got it.
This is all, something happened with these guys when he was the mayor, because think of the amount of money, the fortune that he is going to spend on his losing primary campaign, and then if this $100 million doesn't help him out, it's a spite store on the political side of things, and it's 100% personal with him.
What do you think about that, Adam?
Well, obviously he doesn't like Trump. I mean, obviously. I mean, that I don't think
Bloomberg.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, you're spending $100 million.
I'm saying the only reason is personal.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, there's obviously more to it. You know, I'm going to give you an answer you're probably not expecting out of young Adam Saz over here.
Let's hear it.
Well, most, from Miami, Florida boy, lived everywhere in Florida. Florida is literally the most important state when it comes to elections. Agree or disagree?
Yes, purple,
okay.
Yes.
It's purple. It has the most electoral college votes.
Al Gore, Bush, controversy,
Bush,
Florida.
Bingo, bango,
yes,
ballots,
always.
Chads, always.
Yes.
You got North Florida, more GOP. You got South Florida, more Democratic. You got the Cubans. You got old people. You got Haitians. You got blacks. It is the most important state. So that's why we're going to single out this state. But here's my thoughts on this. I actually hate seeing stories like this, whether it's on the left or whether it's on the right. Bloomberg donates $100 million. George Soros donates, $1 billion. The Koch brothers donate. It's just a pay-for-play thing, these super PACs. One thing for sure is if you're a billionaire, you could just buy your elections. Hey, Bloomberg wants to give $100 million to Florida. Cool. The Koch brothers want to give, $50 billion to Nebraska. Cool.
Yeah.
It's just so excessive. And all these billionaires just...
So you're heartbroken.
I'm heartbroken unless Biden ends up with a...
I mean, what's he going to spend it on? TV commercials? I guess that's where the money goes?
It says it right here. He's going to use it for 2 reasons. Number 1, to obviously prop up Biden. But number 2, to make Trump spend more of his campaign chest. So, it's...
Like literally prop him up?
Yeah, he's going to...
Here's a question I got for you. So he's going to spend $100 million, which, first of all, $100 million is nothing to a guy worth $65 billion. That's like you having $65,000 and giving $100 to a person running for office. That's like you having $650,000, you're giving $1,000. To him, it's not a big deal. And then let's look at how much money this guy spent on his own campaign.
Yeah.
Okay. He spent
a losing campaign.
Do you know how much money he spent? Do you know the number?
$500 million? More?
$900 million he spent on his own campaign, and he got 58 delegates. And he lasted barely 100 days.
I was going to say not even a couple months.
But this is the point I'm trying to make to you. If, I'm even going to ask you a crazier question, okay? Say he spent $64 billion, okay, in the state of Florida. Say Bloomberg hates Trump so much, he gives his $65 billion to help Biden get elected. You think Biden's still going to get elected if he gives him $65 billion?
No, there's no guarantee.
What I'm trying to say to you is the following. As much as money matters, as much as money matters, as much as you can go out there and say, well, it's about this and it's about that and it's about this, America voted Obama. When Obama was coming up, Hillary had all the money, not Obama, okay? When he was coming up, Hillary had the money. He didn't have the money. When Trump was coming up, Jeb Bush had all the money. Jeb Bush, day one, had $140 million. Trump had nothing, right? Trump just had a social media presence. This is more than just giving money. I think what's starting to happen today is money matters. Don't get me wrong. You need the super PACs. You need the money 100%. But if you are not coming out, just yesterday, Trump did a rally in Nevada, right? And just yesterday, look at what Trump's doing. So yesterday, Trump is in Nevada, does a rally, gives a talk. I don't think if it's yesterday, maybe it was a day before then when he gave the talk, 2 days ago. He gives a talk in Nevada. On fire, this guy. Lit up, right? Getting up there, talking, people hollering. There's 80,000 people. When I was watching it, when it was live, I was in the bathroom. I'm being serious with you. I get out of the bathroom. I said, babe, look how many people watching. I said, there's 80,000 people watching Trump in their bathroom stall right now, listening to this guy speak from anywhere. I said, when Hillary and Trump were running, here's what was happening, if you remember this. Hillary's running against Trump. Every day you turn on Facebook, Trump was somewhere doing a rally. Every day you turn on Facebook, you didn't see Hillary Clinton do rallies. No matter how much money is spent, if Biden's strategy is to lock him up, don't have him come out, don't let anybody see him, no one's going to get any opinions, any of that stuff's not going to take place. I don't care how much Bloomberg spends. Nothing's going to happen.
You know, why do you think Bloomberg is such a lightweight and so unsuccessful nationally? I mean, the media company he built is unbelievable when you look at Bloomberg and what that value is of that company.
The
and
machine
then
he built.
He was such a great mayor.
Yeah.
I mean, you would almost think that he would transfer over and be an outstanding president, but he's such a lightweight.
Well,
and
I mean,
what is it with him nationally? People just don't identify with him?
Different strokes for different folks. You have a Jewish billionaire who, made his money in New York City. He's going to resonate in New York. He's not going to resonate in
But he was successful.
Oklahoma.
He did a good job. I just thought he could do a better job in these primaries, and you would look at him and have a little more respect for him. But he's kind of a putz when you think about him on a national level.
I give you a perfect idea there. It's a very good question you point out, by the way. Very good question. We're not prepared for this, but it's a very good question. I will tell you this. So you know how you decide to go away and come back and reappear in the media, okay?
Like reinvent yourself?
Yeah, no, not even reinvent. You kind of like, when you have the money sometimes, you're getting all the attention, all this other stuff, you get to a point where you don't want any attention, right? Because sometimes you don't want attention because you don't want your personal life to be
talked about. Yeah, put the target on your back.
Like, how many times do you see Jordan doing an interview? Honestly.
Never.
How often do you see Michael Jordan doing interviews?
Not even as the owner, he doesn't do it.
What was the most common thing when Jordan was in Chicago and they would ask him about his personal life? What would Michael say to the interview? Like, people like you, what would he say?
He would deflect. You probably wouldn't even ask him that question because it's pretty much
But if you did, it was a code in Chicago. You don't ask Michael about his personal life. But if you did, Michael point blank will look at you and he would say, I'm here to talk about basketball. My personal life said it. I don't want to talk about it. But my basketball life, whatever questions you got, we can talk about it. So he deflected. Why? Some of these guys just don't want your personal life to be advertised, right? So Bloomberg is so big in New York. He's the mayor, all this other stuff. Then maybe his marriage didn't work out. He's a single guy. He's got the money. He's got girlfriends on the side. I don't want publicity. Then he decides to go out and get on social media, which I'll tell you how many followers he has on social media. And this stuff matters today. It didn't matter 40 years ago, but it matters today. Watch this. Sure. Bloomberg on Instagram has 468,000 followers. Let me say this one more time, Adam. Bloomberg on Instagram has 468,000 followers. That is less than many 12-year-olds that are putting cat videos on Instagram.
He's not even an
And he's
influencer.
running for office. His last video he posted this morning got 2,583 views in 2 hours with 19 comments. And this guy's worth $65 billion. What this tells you for right here is the big screen. He is not fit for the big screen. He's fit for the boardroom. It's a very big difference. Today's presidential, to win, you got to belong here. He doesn't belong there, not Bloomberg. That's my opinion.
I wonder how many of those posts he does on his own. Do you think that's the beauty of Trump and some of these other people?
Zero.
That you can tell that
Bloomberg ain't Twitter fingering over there.
It's unfiltered, right? And it's a real message that's getting out.
Yeah, I mean, look, like you said, something must have happened in New York. And, would you be surprised that Trump pissed Bloomberg off? I mean, how long is the list of people that Trump has pissed off? Can we add just Bloomberg to that list? It's not like it's a big deal.
And depends how thin your skin is, because at some point Trump's going to say something about you. So do you hold a grudge? Yeah. Do you take it that personally?
Yeah, he's not cool with that. So apparently that's not something he's comfortable with. But we'll see what's going to happen with that $100 million. So Apple apparently is not launching for the first time ever. Apple will be doing their event today at 10 o'clock, Pacific Standard Time, which is 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But rumor has it, they're launching a new iPad. They're launching a new watch. They're launching all this other stuff. But rumor has it they are not launching a new iPhone. iPhone has reportedly been delayed till October due to COVID-19. Do you think that's an accurate rumor? And if it is, do you think that's a good strategy to delay the phone launch till October?
Well, my first reaction is, as good as Apple is with marketing, with PR, maybe they have a surprise that they've kept under wraps, and maybe they'll have a huge announcement about 2 new phones today. Nothing would surprise me. I guess logically it seems COVID, in China where they make the phones might have some sort of impact on production, but Apple's also the type of company that I don't think they use too many things as excuses, and they're going to find a way to use this publicity stunt today to make some sort of big announcement. I can't believe they'd be, kind of go quiet or not have something big to say.
Adam.
Just as a consumer, what's the difference if they bring out a new phone in September or October?
Now, let me ask you this. Are you a diehard Apple fan?
No.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
To a diehard Apple fan.
Do I have Apple? Yeah.
Not the point.
Am I like, oh my God, the new phone? Like, no.
Well, to the diehard Apple fan, September is like December 24th. What Christmas means to you is what September means to
Santa.
Yeah, they want to go line up outside the stores, even though the stores are closed.
That's the point.
But every time that I see, I'm in the mall. I remember just being in the mall.
Yeah.
This is literally last year, and lines out the door in Apple, and I, me, I'm a pretty inquisitive person. You're going to say something?
Go ahead. I was going to ask, while you're saying this, I want to ask the audience a question. Let me ask you, how many of you, the moment the new iPhone comes out, you go out there and buy it? And how many of you are watching this right now? Be honest. I tell you myself. My answer, I'll tell you right after you tell yours. How many of you, the moment iPhone 12 comes out, you're going to go buy it? Comment below. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, that was actually my point, is that there was lines out the door. And I'm not a diehard, really anything. I remember just asking people online, like, hey, guys, what's going on here? Dude, it's a new iPhone 11. It's coming out. I'm like, why do you have to go opening day? Man, I just love Apple. I'm like, you can't wait a day or two? No, man, I got to have it.
Yeah.
Okay. What I wanted to ask that person was, like, how in debt are you? What's your debt situation? What's your money situation?
But don't you want to ask everybody that question?
It's like, why do you, like... Dude, you don't need to run out and get the new phone the day it comes out.
Well, that's the beauty of that brand.
I guess the biggest question is, how often do you really need a new phone? Do you need it every single time it comes out?
The Apple
Can you use a phone for a year or two? That's the bigger question.
First of all, you're talking about $1 trillion company. This $1 trillion company's number one selling product is what? The iPhone, the smartphone. Right. And this $1 trillion company, historically, when you go back to the 80s and 90s, you know what they were known for? Selling expensive computers.
Right.
If you owned Apple, you were rich. It was not the 486 or 386. If you remember the old 386 and the 486, Apple was $2,900, $3,500, and the other computers were $1,800. Here's the other part when I think about this data here with why. By the way, just so you know, most people here are saying no way. When I say most people, Kai, would you agree 90% of people are saying no? 90% of people are saying they don't go line up to buy the iPhone. 90%.
Well, good. I'm happy to hear that.
I feel like that's
Android.
An older thing, though, because people used to do it back in the day. Like, if we ask how many have ever gone to line up and
that's
get
a different question. But
that's a different question.
But then the question becomes, they're still selling, though. Like, they are still selling.
Because now people can order online. Back in the day,
I got it.
If you didn't order, you couldn't order online.
That makes sense.
Either you line up right away or you get it in 4 months.
Well, maybe the better question is, how many of you guys are going to order it regardless whether it's face-to-face or online you're going to order it? Here's a couple things. Mm-hmm. There's 2 ways to look into this, the way I see this. Number one, Apple has a surprise up their sleeve because they've historically been known as the surprise, like you were saying earlier. But the surprise was more a Steve Jobs thing, not a Tim Cook thing. So I don't think Tim Cook is a surprise guy as much as Steve Jobs was. The other part was when my book was coming out with Simon & Schuster, Simon & Schuster had an emergency call with me in June, I believe. I don't know when it was. It was a June, Kai, that we had that call. They had a call with me in June, and they said, Patrick, I don't think we can launch the book on June 18th. I said, why is that? Printers. We just can't print the books the way we did. So we can't print, but we're only going to be able to print 5,000. And our first batch was supposed to be 25, 35,000. So maybe Apple is having a hard time being able to produce the phones because if all of a sudden they got a million orders, how the hell are we going to make this up?
Logistically and shipping them.
Could be.
These diehard Apple fans are like diehard comic book fans or something. They expect something on that date. And everybody thinks of Apple as the most innovative company in the world. So I think they'd miss a big opportunity today if they came out flat and didn't have something that they had to say. I use Apple. I love Apple. I don't care about the new phone. It's just another thing I'd have to learn.
What model do you have?
I think it's a 10,
what do you
10X or something. I
got the 6S. It's great.
You're being sarcastic.
It's the Apple flip phone.
A 10,
10,
I think, yeah.
What is this? Is this an 11? Is this the 11? So I have an 11.
So the question is this, Pat.
Yes.
Are you basically alluding to the day it comes out, Pat's got to get the new shit?
The day it comes out, I'm buying one.
You're getting one.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The day it comes out, I'm buying an iPhone.
All right.
Now, why is this?
Yeah.
I support the brand.
That's it.
I don't care what the product is. I support the brand.
Now, let's take you back a little bit. Would the young hustler, entrepreneur, 23-year-old Pat?
Not.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Tell me why not.
One,
you didn't have money.
He didn't have money. That's number one. Number two, all I needed was a phone and a texting method for me to drive whatever I need to whoever it is. Today, we have multiple media stuff that we're doing. I need whatever that's going to be the fastest to be able to allow me to do other things because I got so many different things. So every time the processor gets faster, I'm banking on a newer processor. So it's a little bit more technical with my answer.
Here's my point.
Yeah.
41-year-old stud CEO, entrepreneur, sure, worth millions. Go get the new Apple, no question. The 23-year-old out there watching this who has student loan debt and is struggling to make income, or maybe you're just, a normal person, or even if you're doing well. I'm not just relegating just people who are not doing well. You don't have to run out and get the new iPhone. If you're not a social media content creator, CEO, take a couple months, take a year.
I think
ride
the
with your old
question
phone.
isn't what's the right thing to do. With Apple, it's never what the right thing to do is. It's what the cult-like following is going to do.
It's emotional with Apple, and that's the connection that
very
they have.
emotional.
For me, it's all function. Like if I'm on a non-Apple device, I'm wasting 50% of my time because it's just slower. I don't know how to use it. It's frustrating. Yeah. So for me, it's pure function.
Were you a BlackBerry guy?
Yeah, I did used to like the BlackBerry just because you could send emails and text and
Man,
if you're a communicator.
Yes,
so
I remember one time I got to tell you a story about BlackBerry. So remember Nextel BlackBerry?
Yeah.
The walkie-talkie BlackBerry.
Oh yeah, I can see.
So one day at the Chinese theater, Exorcist comes out, the movie.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys remember the Exorcist, the movie.
Like the original, way back.
You don't remember when they brought it back in LA at the Chinese theater? So they brought it back.
The original Exorcist was like in 1980.
Yeah, 1980. So. I go to my dad. I say, Dad, there's this movie coming out called The Exorcist. What do you think about it? My dad says, don't screw around watching this movie. I said, why is that? He said, I'm telling you, don't go watch this movie. I said, Dad, my dad never says don't go watch a movie. But he so happens to tell me, don't go watch this movie, Exorcist. I said, what's up with The Exorcist? He said, well, back in the early 80s, I went to UK to do a certain training for Max Factor because my dad's a chemist, so he makes makeup. So he said, I went to UK for a Max Factor training. He says, one day I'm staying at the hotel, and I said, look, let me go watch a movie. I asked a front desk clerk, I said, look, what's a good movie to watch? They said, there's a new movie that came out. In Farsi, they call it Jangir. It's the name of it. So he says, Exorcist came out. So he says, okay, no problem. So he goes across the street, across the park to watch this movie. He says, I go to the theater. He said, no one's in the theater. I'm by myself watching Exorcist. He says, I sit there, watch this Exorcist. I'm like, what the hell did I do watching this movie? So he says, on my way back to the hotel, I had to cross the street of a park. He said, I see this park. The only way I can get to the hotel is I got to run through the park. He said, Pat, I start running. All of a sudden, I see this couple that are making out. They see me. I thought it was The Exorcist. I scream. They scream. So finally I get to the hotel. Long story short, I go straight to the bar. He says, give me 2 shots of double tequila. He says, I take 2 shots. I went upstairs. I left the lights on to go to sleep. All I thought about was the movie. So now this story comes back to me.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine says, we're going to go watch The Exorcist. There's two parts of the story. So I go and I...
So you didn't listen to your dad,
no,
is what you're
of course
saying.
not. Of course not. So I go watch it first while my friend Fernando Lasso, who lives in Ecuador right now. Shout out to Fernando Lasso, one of my groomsmen, by the way. Fernando Lasso, the Conejo. Conejo means rabbit, right? That's what his nickname was, Conejo. So I go watch this with our buddy Conejo, and Conejo says, before we watch The Exorcist, we have to listen to this recording. I said, what's this recording? This is a diehard Christian guy, Fernando Lasso. He says, this is how, when I was in Ecuador going to school, this is how people who worship the devil, this is the kind of music they listen to. I said, bro, turn this crap off. He says, no, but just think how crazy it is. I said, I don't need to listen to this stuff. He puts it in for 15 seconds. I listen to it. They're reading the Bible backwards. That's how creepy this thing is. I said, what is the matter with you? He says, we have to get into the mood before we watch this movie. We have to get into the mood before. I said, you are absolutely crazy. So we go sit in and watch the movie. It's myself, a guy named Mauricio, and Fernando Lasso. So we watch it. We leave. First of all, the movie was out of control, terrible. But one of my friends, meaning scary. No,
Yeah.
It's scary. So my friend Saul Lopez goes to watch the movie. And I know he's going to go. And I ask all my friends, what time is he going to the movie? So I go into the movie theater just to see him. I know where he has no clue. I'm right there. I grab the Nextel walkie-talkie. I see where he's sitting. I say, Saul Lopez. Let me tell you what happened with Saul. Saul jumps up. I wish we had camera back then to see the reaction. He jumps up. That night, he knew I'm in the parking lot. He comes in. He says, there's no way I'm sleeping alone that night. True story. That night, 4 of us slept at my sister's apartment on the floor because Saul didn't want to sleep. Saul, if you're listening to this and watching this, you know I'm telling the truth. You know I'm telling the truth. But that's the Exorcist story. I don't know how the hell we got to the Exorcist story.
Well, because you couldn't have done that on an iPhone, right? You needed that BlackBerry device to scare
If I had
Saul.
an iPhone, I would have seen the reviews, and I would have never seen the Exorcist, but it is what it is. Oh, that's the whole thing with the BlackBerry, the walkie-talkie deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was pretty cool.
I'm getting a little sign here with The Exorcist and your dad's story with The Exorcist. Isn't your phone ring the one?
So
two,
that's so crazy you
Freddy's
say
coming
that.
for
Well,
you.
last night,
Yeah.
my son finally made me change it. He finally
Ironically enough.
Ironically, but we haven't even spoken about it. Can you send me a text right now? This is what I had to change it to because my son said, Dad, I can't stand listening to the thing. Scares me. Tico doesn't like scary songs.
What was it?
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. That's my ringtone.
Okay.
But now it's changed. It's classic.
A little more uplifting.
The Animals. House of the Rising Sun.
House of the Rising Sun. of
Changed.
course.
So he was a
who-
little disturbed.
Why'd
by
you
it.
select that?
I'm a crazy fan of House of the Rising Sun, and
That specific
don't
song.
let me be misunderstood. The Animals. I mean,
The Animals.
They were legit. By the way, a lot of great movies have played that song, The House of the Rising Sun.
Mm-hmm.
There is a house
sure.
in
It sounds like a
Norman
soundtrack.
they call. So it's a
The
great song.
Rising
Yes.
Sun.
Okay. Thank God this isn't a karaoke
So
show. Okay.
of all time, yeah, I mean, fail. Of all days, of all times, last night your son Tico said enough with the Nightmare
Mario,
on Elm Street.
I got a text from Mario. Tico's sitting right next to me. We're having a conversation. He says, Daddy, you got to change that ringtone. It's
Getting
too scary.
goosebumps over here.
I
man.
changed it yesterday because for the longest time we had Nightmare on Elm Street. Anyways, by the way, we got to give a shout out to Freddy Krueger. I mean, he's got to get it. He has scared the living crap out of many kids. Do you remember
kidding.
Do you remember the first time you watched Nightmare on Elm
Well,
Street?
yes, and I think movies were 10 times more scary in the 80s. I mean, they just were. I mean, they just. I don't know why.
Is
Maybe,
it because we were kids, or is it because they were scary?
I think because we lived I grew up in a rural environment. So after you see the movie, it's all dark and cornfields and stuff, and you think Freddy Krueger and Children of the Corn are actually there. And there was fewer distractions. You can't get on your cell phone and on social media and distract yourself right after that movie or calm yourself down. So I don't know, but they were freaky back then. Although I hate scary movies in general. I don't even watch them. Hate them all.
I almost want to tell a story about Nightmare on Elm Street, but I don't want to tell it. It's that bad, but
Well, you
maybe I
gotta
should
do it.
tell this
You
story.
got to.
You know, it's a pretty bad story, by the way.
Okay,
Let me tell this
was
story.
Rabbit
No,
in it?
This is a crazy story.
Let me ask the audience: do you want to hear
No,
another
this is a
story
crazy
from Pat?
story. I should almost not tell this story. But,
Guys, do you want to hear the story from
I
Pat?
don't
He's
know. Maybe
threatening
we'll come
not
back
to tell the
Maybe
story.
we'll come back to it.
I don't
Maybe
know.
we'll come back
I think
to
we're
it.
on topic right now. I think this is the time.
All right, let me tell you the story. So here's what happened. Okay, it's crazy. I mean, people.
I don't want to tell it. I don't. Okay, I'll tell it. Okay,
yeah,
fuck it, I'll do it.
let me tell you what happens. The only thing I'm thinking about is people are gonna say, "What the hell does this guy do here?" So, so if I go to a hotel room, I want to go to sleep. Okay, there's nothing worse than a neighbor that's blasting music at 2:00 in the morning. Okay, so I'm on a business trip, and there's these two people, that are next to me blasting their music. And when I go on business trip, I room up with Mario. Mario and I get a room together. I always have a roommate when I go on trips, right? So I noticed they're not stopping it. They're not stopping it. They're not stopping it. And I said, look, we called downstairs. We say, hey, our neighbors are playing music. They call them. They slow down. They blasted it again. I said, no problem. I have the solution on how to turn off the music. You know what I do? I get the soundtrack song of Nightmare on Elm Street. Our doors are attached. I put the phone under the door. The doors are attached.
Of course.
And it goes, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. And then the sound of a girl comes out. I see you. I see you. I'm coming inside your door.
Do you want to play with me?
You want to play with me? You see that one? I've told you.
Play with me?
So next thing you know, you see these girls screaming. They totally they come outside. They're knocking on everybody's door. Everybody's door they're knocking on. Someone's in here. You know what they did? They left. And we went to sleep.
You scared them that
Very
bad.
simple
Then
solution.
we murdered them.
Thank you. Thanks to Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy Krueger. He was
People
able
are
to
saying
get us
you've
some
told
sleep.
this story, Pat.
If I have told this story,
you were
great,
cranking
man.
that to overshadow what they were playing too.
No question about it. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into a couple other things here.
My guy JJ goes, what the hell is Pat on about right now?
You got to let
Pat's
me
on
go
a
to
twisted
sleep,
little
man.
vibe, guys. Just roll with it.
Well, there's a lot of
Pat's in this
stories.
mood,
There's
just
a lot
roll
of
with it.
stories that you do not know about this guy here. So, all right, which one do you want to get into? 2 sheriffs shot point blank execution style in California. Disturbing new video shows a 31-year-old deputy tending to her partner, who's 24 years old, as she hides them both from behind a column after a man fires a gun at the 2 LA County Sheriff deputies sitting in their patrol cruiser Saturday night in Compton. Reward money now $175,000. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti on Sunday condemned protesters for reportedly yelling death to police outside the hospital where 2 Los Angeles County Sheriff Police Department deputies are being treated and in critical condition after being shot. Have you seen the video, by the way?
Yeah.
Kai, have you seen the video? If you got the video, for people, if they've not seen it, this is the visual, okay, just so you know. So they're in their car. This person that's walking up, originally, they had no plans of doing anything. He's about to walk by. Then all of a sudden, he pulls out his gun and he starts shooting. Okay, in the 24...
Are the windows open or no?
I don't
from
think
this
so.
angle, it looks like it's open, but it may not be open. The cop that the person shot at got a 26-year-old kid. She's 24 years old. She's hospitalized, not in good conditions. Trump said if either one of them dies, if either one of these cops dies, he says this person's going to be getting the death penalty. And for that to be taking place.
Yeah.
Then the local sheriff in L.A. came out and said, hey, LeBron, since lives really matter to you, why don't you match the $175,000 of donation that we got to LeBron? This was just said last night. So what are your thoughts? You're in L.A. right now. What are your thoughts about this?
It's so disturbing on multiple levels. This is sick. It's unbelievable. It's very unsettling. But I think almost as bad as the fact that these protesters get into the hospital. Here's a quote. According to the Sheriff's Department, the protesters were blocking the entrance and exit of the hospital emergency room. And one of them was yelling, "We hope they die." I mean, here's the scary thing for me. This is so organized, right? For protesters to be on the spot, to know where the hospital is, to get down there, to be in front of the hospital, to have these types of chants. There's a big thing brewing here that's quite scary. LeBron's probably not going to do anything. I doubt if he's going to match that. He probably would have done it right away. Did you hear that the Black Lives Matter blocked the Lakers bus yesterday? And there was something going on in Florida as well. So LeBron seems to be in the crosshairs on both sides trying to get his attention. But look, I hope there's not much else to say. Trump even took heat for saying that. How can that be a controversial statement to say that these guys need to be brought to justice immediately and have a death penalty, attached to the sentence? But
you know what's my biggest challenge with LeBron? By the way, I've been in U.S. since November 28, 1990. What's special about November 20, 1990 is that's the year where the finals were Lakers against the Bulls. So I watched Michael make that shot over Sam Perkins where he goes up and he switches for no reason and comes up left-handed saying Sam Perkins was trying to block my shot. As if Sam Perkins with a 6-inch vertical leap can block Michael's shot, right?
Who is high most of the time, by the way. Sam Perkins. You ever see Sam Perkins play? That guy is.
He's got a good left-handed shot, by the way. The three-pointer, he used to hit him.
Sam Perkins baller.
But I've been a Laker fan for 29, 30 years now. It's the first year I'm not rooting for the Lakers. You know why? Here's why. To me, Michael, if there was a political issue, he would say, I'm giving $1 million to to black university or black college, and I'm giving $1 million to a charity of a police department or sheriff, and he would talk about how the cops protected him so well throughout his career, right? There's nothing that's unifying about LeBron James. The only thing unifying about LeBron James is anybody that agrees with him. That's it. You have to be a BLM supporter for him to unify. If you're not, you won't hear anything from him. Big difference when a guy that's the face of the league is treating the politics that way, where it's just purely one-sided. Yeah. And no, if he says it's not my responsibility, it's not on me, you're the face of the league. You call yourself the king. The king dictates what direction the NBA goes.
100%.
And everything good and bad that's going on with today's NBA is because of the king, because you are the king. So, I would love for him to come out. I'd love to be wrong. Yeah. But I highly doubt he's going to come out and support the situation.
You know, Michael had the great quote. He goes, Republicans buy shoes too. So he, had business interests at the forefront of most everything he did as well. Michael was very savvy, very smart. That's why he stayed neutral. But so does LeBron. LeBron's media company is doing very, very well. I mean, he's
Spring Hill.
Yeah,
they're going to kill it, by the way, just so you know.
Yes, they've come to Hollywood, and they've been very, very successful. So you would think somebody like that would maybe want to straddle the line a little bit more, because personally, I look at LeBron as a social activist that also plays basketball.
Not the other way around.
No, I look at his basketball as being secondary.
I agree with you.
And it's so sad because they're going to walk to the finals probably, and they'll probably win it all. I mean, the thing that's going to – I don't want to get all sports on you, but, I mean, their free throw shooting's horrendous, right? So that could cost them down the road. But he has a chance to seize this mantle of being the only guy to win 3 championships with 3 different teams and lead them all the way, and he's going to blow it because he's offending more people than he's generating excitement from.
But the thing I will give him credit for, I don't think he really cares.
Doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, I don't think he
knows
really
what
cares.
he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, he's dropping F-bombs on social media, the whole thing.
Not that he knows what he's doing. I don't think he knows what he's doing. I think he knows who he wants to be, and he could care less if he's losing half the audience or not.
Hey, Pat, one more
thing. Do you have
thing.
a problem with that, though?
I don't have a
If you know who you are and you know what you want to be and you stand for something, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, for me, I get it. I like people that are willing to, like, for example, do you remember when the Jussie Smollett thing that took place?
Jussie Smollett, I
Jussie
remember
Smollett,
him,
right? Do you remember when that took place?
Of course.
Do you remember the first time they asked Trump about it, what Trump said?
No.
Do you remember what Trump said?
To the tune that he didn't believe it or something like that?
No, not at all.
He believed it at first.
No,
We're going to fire
that's
these
right.
people.
He said,
no.
we got to catch him.
Yeah.
This is not fair. That we got to, justice needs to be served. He defended Jussie Smollett.
Yeah.
And there's no way in the world he would support Jussie Smollett right after finding out the story. His immediate reaction is to do what? Support. He's not like that. So no matter how much people say that Trump is divisive, Trump is not as divisive as LeBron is divisive.
Hey, I'll say one more thing. I think this NBA bubble is putting these guys in a very weird environment. You listen to Doc Rivers' comments. I mean, Doc, stick to basketball right now. No one really is looking for you to become a political activist, and that's all he seems to be doing as well now. But I think you're in a hotel room. Maybe your wife's there, but not your kids, some of your family.
Yeah.
Your normal routine is out the window. You have 18 to 20 hours of downtime a day. All you have is your phone and social media. I think that's adding a little fuel to it, and it's going to go another month, too, if they make the finals.
Are you telling these NBA players they should shut up and dribble?
I'm not saying that at all. I think
that what's going on
I'm saying
here?
the bubble is affecting them, and I think they're having more time to not be around normal society where you might have a little bit more open mind about things.
So here's
Well, everyone's dealing with some sort of COVID bubble right now. They're literally dealing with the bubble, but I think everything is so amplified right now. And I mean, my biggest problem, like just for me, okay, so if you don't find what happened to the police officers fucking disgusting, then you're on the wrong side of the equation here, ladies and gentlemen. Like, that is disgusting. So the people that, for whatever reason, support that, you're hurting your cause here, gentlemen, or ladies and gentlemen.
Well, let's see if LeBron's tweeted about it. I haven't even checked. I mean, if he has tweeted about it and saying something, I hope.
Especially it's his town. It's his city.
Nope, not one tweet. Not one tweet about it.
He should.
Not one tweet about it.
So
So
the biggest problem, that I'm just going to say one thing. The problem these days is everything is so polarized. It's this or that. You're BLM or you're Black Lives Matter or you're Blue Lives Matter. You're red or you're blue. You're MAGA or you're BLM. Why can't we all just be a little bit of just Americans?
Look, a few comments here to respond for both of you guys, what you said. One, I don't mind athletes being sharing their opinions if it's sincere. Like, for example, Cap, he knelt and he says, here's what this is. Well, there was a lot of, hypocrisy behind his movement, that what he did. Mom's, white, he's half white, and Then he wears the pig socks while he's playing in Miami. I mean, look, now you're playing with fire. You're talking about people that escaped Castro. So, but Ali, when Ali did it, Ali also got along with everybody on both sides. Ali was still likable when him and, they were going at it with a couple different people. He was actually, you would be his biggest enemy when they would do interviews. He would always stand up. But at the same time, he was partying with everybody. Ali was good with everybody. Ali wasn't just one-sided guy when you read the stories about it. If you go to his museum in Kentucky, Louisville, if you've never been, highly recommended. We're doing an event there, actually. Sapalas and Vargas's and Delvais and Kahindi and, am I missing? Mason, they're doing an event there in January, which I'm looking forward to going to because I love the Ali Museum. This is what I will say about this part here. This whole message is not about LeBron. It's not about Doc Rivers. It's about these two sheriffs. My concern is the following. Here's my biggest concern. Yesterday, we're having a meeting here, okay? And one of my sales reps asked me a question and says, what do you say when the person says this, okay? And I said, what do you mean? He said, what do you say if the person says this? And they say, if you don't do this, I won't do this. I said, the reason why this person is saying this is because they feel comfortable being able to say that to you. What do I mean by that? You know how you sit with somebody and somebody says, shut up, and you don't like it. You know how people say, shut up. It's not like a bad thing to say. They just say, shut up. I had a girl I worked with. We're good till today. She's one of the best right now what we do with the business. She had a tendency of saying this very quickly to everybody. And so one day she said it to me. I said, can I whisper something to you, just you and I? She said, yes. I said, have I ever told you to shut up? She said, never. I said, please don't say it to me either. I don't like the terminology shut up. Just don't say it to me. She says, I'm so sorry. I said, no, you don't have to apologize. It's very normal. I actually don't think you have anything negative to say about it. But moving forward, I'm not going to say shut up. You don't need to say shut up. Let's have that mutual respect for one another. She said, okay. So the next time, we're saying something, she's like, oh, shut up. She's like, I'm so sorry. I said, no, just the fact that you caught yourself, guess what? I respect the fact that you respected me. Let me tell you what's going on here, what the bigger concern is. People are thinking it's okay to shoot cops right now. And that's a byproduct of politics. People in California think it's okay to shoot cops right now. So as much as Garcetti is coming out and saying this stuff, you are indirectly making people think that they are doing something good to go after cops because it's a way of getting their 15 seconds of fame and they're going to be talked about and, oh my gosh, BLM's going to say, oh, phenomenal, let's go defund the police, all this other stuff. You have to be very careful what you recognize for. If you tell your kid, great job. There's this book that was on parenting. He said, the author of this book says, whatever you recognize your kids for and give attention for, they're going to keep doing it. Meaning, if the kid is sick, you only hug your kids and tell them you love them when they're sick, they're going to keep telling you they're sick. You got to hug and kiss your kids when they're doing okay. You got to do good to them when nothing's going on. But if you recognize them and you laugh at them saying a stupid joke to somebody and you think it's funny using bad words, they're going to keep doing it because it's a form of recognition. California is indirectly promoting these types of behavior. And it starts with Newsom and it starts with Garcetti, and all that stuff needs to be stopped. By the way, shout out to Newsom because Newsom did send a tweet out. And one of the things I like about what Newsom did the last 24 hours, you guys know how I am about Newsom. If he does stuff, I'll call him up, but I got to give him respect as well. And I know some of the people that are watching this saying, Pat, I cannot believe you're going to say this about Newsom. Let me tell you what at least he did. And whether you say it's good or not, here's what he did do yesterday. He got up there and he says, a 31-year-old mother and a 24-year-old are fighting for their lives because of this cowardly, horrific act. The perpetrator must be quickly brought to justice, praying for a full recovery for the deputies. And then she has the name, and his wife and him are praying and are keeping their loved ones in their thoughts. Listen, and he did that immediately. Respect.
Good, respect.
Good for you. No, I'm giving Newsom
He's
respect.
the governor. He should, of course.
Yes, he should.
I know you're giving him respect.
But what I'm saying is, and then on top of that, let me tell you what he did yesterday. The fires are going on in California.
Yeah.
Trump flies in to meet with them. He doesn't say, pulling off a publicity stunt, I will never meet with him if he comes in. He says, no, let's sit down. Newsom sat right here while Trump sat right here, and Trump was being briefed on what's going on in California, and Trump was listening to everybody, and Newsom's sitting here. Now, think about how uncomfortable he is. His ex-wife is dating his son. Let me say this one more time.
Yeah.
Governor Newsom's ex-wife is dating his son, and he still has the audacity to sit right next to Trump. I know what his positions are. I know where he's at with this, but I respect the fact that he's willing to do this. You cannot, by the way, I hope he's realizing, you cannot out there and say you cannot show up to church. Oh, but you can go out there and protest. You cannot do that. This hypocrisy needs to stop at the top because these guys are thinking it's okay. And I hope this is the last shooting towards sheriffs and cops. But unfortunately, if I'm a betting man in Vegas, I'm telling you, I don't think it's the last time this is going to happen. Especially not in the next 2 months.
And when you consider in Chicago, did you see that story where 36th Street gangs have formed a coalition to say that they would shoot cops on sight if they were armed and stuff? So the rhetoric is so dangerous. You know, I will say that too. I think Newsom is open-minded when it comes to things like that, and I don't think he hates Trump as much as maybe people think he does, because he's actually praised Trump in the past. At least he has the open mind to sit next to him and have this discussion. I don't think Trump hates California. That's the impression out there too. He has a house in Beverly Hills. Or he loves California. I think he loves Hollywood. He loves aspects of it, so he wants to help. Now, the funniest visual of their two meeting was Gavin Newsom had a mask on and Trump didn't. Right? I mean, that just kind of summed up the differences right there.
Yeah.
Let me ask you two Californians a question. If California was a stock, right, with everything that's going on right now, the homeless issue, with the Newsom U-Haul Employee of the Year, the fires, the craziness, the shootings, are you buying California or are you selling California long term?
I'll go first. Easy. Buying. It's a blue chip stock like IBM or like you would preach about Coke or McDonald's or something like that. It's going to have maybe a downturn right now. It's going to be rough, but you can't recreate the natural resources that state has, the weather, the climate, the palm trees, the coastline. So I'm buying, definitely buying.
You're buying.
I'm buying.
I'm actually surprised because you've been.
I love California.
I mean, I've known you for a few months. Every time you've heard, fucking California, it sucks, it's burning down.
Well, no.
I'm buying though.
I am seeing what's going on there, and I'm very disturbed by it, and I'm hurt by it, and it's very disappointing.
It's a downward trend, but long term,
love it, and I'm buying.
You're buying California.
I'm buying.
What say you, PBD?
I don't think I'm buying for the next few years. Okay, I'm shorting right now, and then I'm buying in the next few years. Is what I'm doing. With
like
California.
An airline stock almost.
Yeah, and you know, for me, it's a couple things that you have to realize. Number one is, you know, the reason why I'm banking on America, still buying for America, is because the person running America still is someone that's advancing what America was founded on. California, unfortunately, is going a different direction. You know, I have Maral and Tikran that are in California right now.
Yeah.
I said, how are things in California? I said, she says, fires in Pasadena are terrible, Arcadia, all this other stuff. Then I said, how about homelessness? Their reaction was like this. Oh, Pat, they're everywhere. I said, what do you mean?
Real quick, everybody, if you're in California or if you're, you know, around the country, would you buy California stock right now? Or are you selling California stock? While Pat tells his story, chime in.
So they're saying it's everywhere. Homelessness is everywhere in California right now. We'll see what's going to happen. Again, long term, blue chip, yeah, Silicon Valley, but don't forget, man, people move. You got to realize people move. If you don't make the climate good for a certain community, they move. Look what's happening with Hollywood. Mm-hmm. You know, did you ever think people were going to do auditions in Austin and Atlanta? Did you think a Tyler Perry, who's now officially a black billionaire, that's what he says, one of the, you know, he came out, there was some statistic that came out about, but by the way, I'm a diehard Tyler Perry fan. I think Tyler Perry's a solid guy, what he's doing, but I don't think California is going to have that big of an argument if they keep going the way they're going right now. I hope I'm wrong. You know, I hope I'm wrong. And I hope, Tom, you are right, but we'll see what's going to happen.
We got 50-50. Sell, buy, sell. California needs a correction. Buying,
let's talk
selling,
about the fires.
selling.
How about we talk about the fires?
Stuff,
okay. So here's what happened, by the
Shorting.
way. 36 people have died in California because of fire. Okay, 36 people. The number right now in the state of California is 4.6 million acres in California is on fire right now. Kai, if you can bring up the video. 4.6 million acres. That's a lot of acres, by the way. You buy a house that's an acre, you're sitting on a nice lot. 4.6 million acres. And specifically, if you go to San Francisco's orange sky, okay, just type in on YouTube, San Francisco orange sky. Go to YouTube, sky, fire. Go to videos. Yeah, that's what it looks like. But go to videos because the videos kind of gives you, go to the one that's 2 minutes and 29 seconds. Go back. Go back one. Go to the Sky News one. Yeah, right there. That one right there. Watch this.
The skyline of San Francisco looking more like an image from Mars. The orange glow from wildfires burning miles away.
Tom, you ever seen
the city's landmarks.
Not that bad.
Blocking out the sun. The middle of the day felt like dusk, and it is unnerving.
I was wondering what time it was, and then I looked outside, and it looked like doomsday. I mean, you could tell something is horribly going wrong, and as far as going to work and breathing in all this pollution is definitely not
intelligent guy.
For us
no kidding, good soundbite.
It feels like the end of the world. It's pretty scary.
Look at this. Look what she says. She's a diehard Californian.
I'm a lifelong Californian, and it makes me weep.
Can I
what
sell?
We've done to my poor state.
And those fires continue to rage across the western United States, driven on by strong, dry winds, burning more of California this year than ever before.
Watch this. It's about to get, the next
to the
part
north
is
in
really
Oregon,
intense.
An unprecedented number of fires destroying some whole communities. It is the speed with which these fires spread that's especially alarming. The people who lived in this neighborhood had barely any time to escape.
Sheriff's coming through going, level 3, get out.
Wow.
Get out. And yeah, grab some papers. Grab some papers and stuff. And threw it in. This is it. This is what I've got.
Heartfelt, man.
Some didn't make it out. Deaths have been confirmed in a number of states, and officials say that number will go up.
Watch
we
what this.
expect to
Look
see
at
a
this.
great deal of loss as a result of these fires, both in terms of structures
Oregon
and
governor.
in terms of human lives. It, as I mentioned earlier, could be the greatest loss in human lives and property due to wildfire in our
Kai,
state's
can you
history.
stop the video? Wow. Thank you. So, you know, these fires that's going on with California, for somebody that is from California, Tom, what do you got to say about that?
Devastating. It's so heartbreaking. It's unbelievable. Those are human lives. Those fires move so fast. There's nothing you can do. What are you going to do? Get a couple tankers in the air? You can't stop them. You know, I live in Southern California, in Manhattan Beach. You look at the weather forecast, no clouds, sunny. It's dark. I mean, it's not as bad as San Francisco, but it's everywhere. I've got a lot of experience with wildfires. The Woolsey fire in Malibu a few years ago. My daughter just graduated from Pepperdine. She had to run for her life to get out of there. That thing came over the canyon. Unbelievable. And I live in Manhattan Beach, which is about 27 miles away from Malibu. I could see flames when you look towards Malibu. That's how intense these fires are. But this is unbelievable. The thing that's really upsetting is a lot of people want to make this only a climate issue, right? But a lot of these fires are man-made. They're arsonists that are starting these fires. One guy was arrested for starting 7 of them in Oregon. And these things
arsonists are full-on going out there doing this.
Or like these maniacs are going out there and starting these fires. So when you see, that woman that was talking and crying, I mean, your life is. They come through those small towns so fast, and then they'll encompass the city where there's no exits. There was one town where they had to airlift everybody out of there last week. So it's unbelievable. We just see the headlines and we see the smoke and we see the skyline with the orange hue. But man, it's really, really bad.
I think the question is it climate change or is it fires? Like, does this have to do with the climate, or does this have to do with California's not being responsible and figuring out a way to solve this so it stops happening?
Why can't it be both?
Why can't it be both?
Yeah,
so answer. So if you think it is climate change, and
that's not what I said. I think it's both. I think climate change, things are getting hotter. I think that is a factor. But arsonists, there's my question. I don't have a major point because I don't. Being in Florida, the worst thing that happens is a freaking hurricane maybe in September. California is insane with these fires. It's crazy. My question is this. The entrepreneur spirit in California is crazy. Silicon Valley, crazy. Billionaires, tech companies, things are happening. The cloud, the software. Why can't they figure this out? Mm-hmm. Why can't something be done here?
Right.
Forget about another social media app. Forget about another freaking cloud computing app. Figure out these fucking fires or you won't have a state anymore, California.
The climate does have something to do with it. When it doesn't rain, everything's a tinderbox. So any spark...
But you're on the ocean. You're on the coast. This isn't happening in Central America.
Once you get it, plus the land is so expansive, and then you got the trees, which is the kindling too. It's maybe worse in Oregon. So it's the whole West Coast. I don't know if you can put everything on California
correct.
right now.
It's not just California. Mm-hmm. Oregon, Washington State, I want to say.
Why don't you put a bonus together? Why don't you put a incentive together for the first person that does this? We're going to be giving XYZ on the state of California.
Yes.
Like, why don't you put an incentive program? So the one thing I do like, I like the fact that Trump flew out and had the meeting with Governor Newsom and everybody in California. One, it shows leadership from Trump's standpoint. Two, it shows that Newsom, I mean, what choice does he have to say no to meet with them? But he was willing to meet with them. But now I'd like to see that meeting take place with Musk I'd like to see that meeting take place with the guys from Google.
Caltech.
I'd like to see that take place with Peter Thiel. I'd like to see that take place with Caltech. I'd love to see that with Jack Dorsey. I'd love to see a Twitter campaign coming out. I'd like to see a massive incentive being created for somebody
Microsoft
to
in
solve.
Seattle, everything on
I'd
the
like to
on the
see
West
somebody
Coast.
come up with an incentive. What kind of an incentive could you do? Everything is incentive driven. How can you not give the incentive to solve this?
Who's going to fix this, Pat? Is the government going to fix this, or are entrepreneurs going to fix this?
But the entrepreneur must have an incentive. There needs to be a massive incentive.
A financial incentive?
That's what entrepreneurs are driven by. It's either recognition or incentive. Either make them be in the history books for doing something. Like how do charities raise money? Your name's going to be on this wall. You know, your name's going to be on this
legacy.
thing. Yeah, give them a legacy or give them money. Give them one of those two things. That's what entrepreneurs are driven by.
You could give them a percentage of what the state doesn't spend on trying to put these fires out.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, here's the scary thing. Every year it gets worse. 2016, 2017, this is happening. And then we had all those rains in 2016 and 2017 where you're thinking this is done.
Yeah.
Right? We're not having to deal with this anymore. And it gets worse every year. You think these lands burn and they can't burn again. But that's how big California is. There's always more land to char.
But by the way, where is Pelosi based out of?
San Francisco.
What has she said about the fire?
She's been on the front line. She's like holding a hose.
Yeah.
Haven't you seen her? She's driving a helicopter, airdrop. She's all over this.
Yeah, she's all over this.
Her hair looks great, though.
Her hair does look great. So very impressive.
A little blonder.
So there's homelessness problem going on in California.
Yeah.
Cops
and now
being
we
shot.
got fired. Now we got cops being shot. President Trump has to go on an emergency meeting in California. I mean, just what a wonderful job that state is doing. Just a great job.
But they're going to win a championship.
They're going to win a championship.
NBA.
You
No
can't
parade,
forget
though.
that.
We can't even do a
LA
parade.
will win a championship this year.
We got the Dodgers, too, by the way.
LA will win
So you, as a Miami Heat fan, you're saying zero chance Heat win.
I'm saying
To all the Miami friends that he has, I want you to unfollow him if you're a true Miami Heat fan and you love Adam. I cannot believe he just took a shot at the Heat.
I'm saying
all your buddies you party with are friended, right? You're going to get text right now, just so you know that.
All his buddies are still in the club.
Mr. Pfister's about to text you right now.
Okay, but you did. I said LA will win a championship this year.
That's right. Could be the Clippers.
Meaning
right?
it could be the Clippers if they can get by the Nuggets. But let's not get too sportsy. We're going to lose half our audience right here.
Okay, if you're
by the way, we're at 1.9 thousand viewers. We'd love to hit 2,000. I think we've only hit that once.
Oh, yeah. Press thumbs up. If you're watching this, enjoying this, press thumbs up so it gets picked up, and share the podcast as you're watching this.
Some guy goes
You guys are
unfollowing
awesome.
Adam right now. No, please don't.
Okay, so let's talk about something weird here and something uncomfortable here, but something that needs to be addressed because it's been all over TV. Cuties with Netflix. Okay, Cuties with Netflix. New movie that came out. If you've seen this movie, Kai, if you want to put up the poster with Netflix, the two that we have, the original poster is that one on the right.
This one.
And Netflix.
No, this is the original.
That's the original one? What does Netflix make it? This? Oh, so the original is this.
Shows them
Netflix
shopping.
makes this.
Yeah.
So Netflix goes with the provocative one, but this is the one that the original one, movie that came out, did well in the Sundance. It did very well, and then comes to Netflix, and here's what happens. The trailer has nearly 12 million views. Okay, by the way, if you can change the picture, I don't want it to stay up for too long. The trailer has 12 million views. It has 47,000 likes, 2 million dislikes. Let me say this one more time. The trailer has 12 million views. Go to the trailer on YouTube just to see the stats as the most latest updated stats, Cuties. So the trailer has, you were right, yeah, Cuties. There. Okay, so what number is it? Okay, 12.1 million views. It's got 48,000 likes, 1.9 million dislikes. By the way, even that song that girl sang. Remember a few years ago that girl had that one song, Hey, Friday, and they say it's the worst song in the history of songs. And poor girl got so many dislikes. It was the most hated video of the year on YouTube. Do you remember that song?
Of course.
Sam works out to it. No. Let's stay on this topic. We'll come back to Friday. I know Adam really wants to listen to it. Okay.
I never heard it.
Yeah, it's where's it at? 1.2 million to 3.8 million.
It's a bad song.
Most hated video of the year.
She was likable, though. I liked Rebecca.
Only this girl can make people hate Friday. Friday, the most liked
go back
day of
to
the
the
week.
video. Go back to the video. 12 million views, 47,000 likes, 48,000 likes, 1.9 million dislikes, and 598,700 signatures calling for people to cancel their Netflix subscription in light of Cuties being added to its library of content. By the way, good friend of mine, Jose Gaitan. Okay, he's one of our co-founders. Yeah. He's one of the field advisory board members. He canceled his Netflix.
Wow.
Netflix lost $9 billion. In France, where the film was released in theater on August 19, Cuties did not stir much controversy. The movie won a directing award for Sundance Institute in February. They calls to remove the film have been amplified by supporters of a conspiracy theory that top Democrats and celebrities are behind a global child trafficking ring. It's currently trending number 7 on Netflix. And then my film is a mirror of today's society. A mirror sometimes difficult to look onto and accept, but still so true. We can't blame our children for what we value in our society. Thoughts on the movie, Tom Zenner, as a parent?
Yep, okay. As a parent with an 11-year-old boy, but not girl. These kids are 11. I have a 14-year-old daughter. I think any movie that sexually exploits children in any way is bad, is evil. I will say this. I wasn't offended by this as much as I thought I would be. We talked about it a lot. You hear a lot of buzz about it.
Did you watch the movie?
I didn't watch the movie yet,
Okay.
but I did a lot. The trailer. I watched a little bit of the movie. I watched the interview with the director. I thought I would be appalled. I'm upset, but I'm not appalled. I think 11. The thing that really bothers me is I don't see that. I mean, I live in LA. I don't see 11-year-old girls. My son is 11 years old. I'm around these kids. I don't see them at that age doing that. I think the director had a unique upbringing in Senegal or wherever she was born and raised. A very, very, Muslim background. Her mother did not look like she was, supporting her in any way. So this is highly personal, telling her story. I think a lot of those. This is organized, I think, against Netflix right now. Now, I'm a prude, and I'm Christian. I would be the one person that would be really sickened by this, and I'm not happy about it. I'm not as offended as I thought I would be, but I just think the age of 11 to even paint that picture that these kids are sexual at that age is disgusting.
Well, let me ask you this question. You just brought up a good point. Kai, can you pull up to see what is it? Is it a PG-13 movie? Is it a movie that Tico could watch? Because we have filters on Netflix where my kids can go watch movies that they want. Is it allowed on them to watch it, or is it at least what do they have it as? Cutie.
Rotten Tomatoes, 90%. What does that mean, Pat?
I wouldn't be surprised that Rotten Tomatoes gives it 90%. 5% like this movie, 1.3% rating. Just see what it's, is it a TV
mature audience.
It is a mature audience. Okay, go up. What does a mature audience mean, by the way? Like what age?
I mean, that means
type in TVMA. See what
plus?
TV. Just type in TVMA. What it means.
I'm assuming 16 plus.
TVMA. What does it mean? I think there's a space. There's free dictionary. The TV program 17. Is intended to be viewed. Okay. Okay, 17. Fine. So they have it for mature, under 17. So it's a movie for adults. They want parents to see it, not necessarily kids to see it. That's actually very good to know that's out there. Adam, what are your thoughts about it?
Obviously I don't have kids, but all my friends do. I have a different opinion. Obviously, it's disgusting. I mean, this sexualizing 11-year-olds is not anything that anyone would support. It's not mainstream. But I did a little research on this. It served its purpose. What do I mean by that? This is a shock jock like Alex Jones saying, I believe something crazy and I'm just going to run with it and I'm going to serve it. She did this for a reason. I'm just going to read a few things. This movie is supposed to make people feel uncomfortable. It shines the light on this issue. She says you have to watch the movie to judge it. So my film is a mirror of today's society, a mirror sometimes difficult to look into and accept, but still true. We can't blame our children for what we value in our society. So what's my point? She made this to make people feel uncomfortable. She made this to us to speak about. She made this to stir controversy. Yeah. Because if it didn't, now there's the problem. If people did not speak up about this, if people were not appalled by this, if people were like, yeah, it was a good movie, and didn't say shit, then we'd have a problem. The fact that so many people have a problem with it is a good sign.
I mean, that's a good way of spinning it. Okay, to say that. I get what...
This isn't me spinning it.
I'm not saying you. Yeah. I'm saying that's a good way of spinning it to say I made it so people would get pissed off about it. Fine. Okay, I understand. Like Ann Coulter writes certain books with certain copies, and Bill Maher asks Ann Coulter, do you just write stuff to piss people off? Yes. And is that your business model? Mm-hmm. She was asked the same question on The View. She was one of the first people that said, Bill Maher asked her, who's the person that can win the presidency? She says, today, Donald Trump. Everybody started laughing. Right. She was the first major pundit type of name that went out there and said that. So I think it's a good spin on what she's saying. If that's her business model, fine. That is a business model you can do today. My concern is a little bit different of a concern. Here's what my concern is. So remember earlier we talked about in one of the episodes, Adam, you would remember this, where in politics, Tom brought this up. Tom Ellsworth brought it up to me. He said 44% of Democrats are going to vote Democrat. You can't do nothing about it. They just go down the ballot. Done.
Right.
42% of Republicans are going to vote down the ballot. You can't do nothing about it. 4% of Libertarians, Independents, Green, they're going to go down the ballot. You can't do nothing about it. That's 90%.
We got 10%.
You got 10% left. That is the one that's going to determine. And if it's 60-40, it's going to be a tie, is what he was saying, right? Okay. So there's a group of people that watch this video and watch this movie, and they say, they're freaking disgusting. This is terrible. There's some people that are going to watch the movie and they're going to say, wow, very educational. I liked it. Good perspective. I took a lot out of it.
Like people
right?
in France,
yeah.
apparently.
There's going to be a group of people that watch it and they're going to say, there's going to be a group of people that are not going to watch it at all and say, there's no way in the world I would spend my time watching a movie like this, right?
Like me.
Right.
I don't watch the movie.
By the way, Kai watched it last night for be educated.
Did he really?
Yeah, Kai watched it on 1.5 to get perspective on it. But here's the problem. There's 10% of people that are going to watch it that could potentially influence them to be thinking about something. And let me explain to what I mean by 10% of people that can be influenced something. So you watch the show Cops. If you watch the show Cops, how do you watch the show Cops? You watch it and you say what?
try to figure out what you can do to skirt the cops.
No, not you. When you watch the show Cops, what do you say? You
watch I watch it for entertainment.
Entertainment.
Watch the chases.
Yeah. But if I'm a criminal, you know how I watch a show Cops? I'm like, okay, got it.
Like
that
game
was
film
good.
in the NFL.
Yeah, like guys who went to prison, friends of mine who've gone to prison. I have a lot of friends that have gone to prison, have come out. Obviously, I've interviewed a lot of people that have spent a lot of time in prison. You know what they tell you? Prison was a training camp to learn how to commit other types of crimes. You go to jail, you only sold weed or you sold a couple things, but I went in, I learned how to do this,
master's degree,
and this,
spring
and this,
training,
and this, and this. As much as she may have good intentions, there's certain, like, okay, think about it this way. Is there a visual in your life as a kid growing up that you wish you never had?
Yeah.
You don't need to say it,
No.
but is there a visual you had as a kid that you wish you never had? Do you have one? Yeah, I'm not asking what it is. Do you have one, though?
Yes.
It could be a father slapping your mom in the face. You wish you never had that, okay? It could be a sibling getting smashed on the floor and somebody hit them with the knee. It could be something sexual. It could be something you saw that you wish you never saw. We're never going to talk about it as adults. We keep it in our minds. That visual messed with you the rest of your life, and you're 41 years old. You wish you never had that.
I'm not 41.
You're 40 years old. You're 39 about to be 40, right? 39 about to be 40.
Sure.
There are certain visuals we're better off not having. This is one of them. The world is a better place whether you watch us or not. We don't need to have certain visuals be in people's minds. That's the only thing I'm saying about making movies like this.
Well, then who is the villain? Is it Netflix or is it the director? And I'll tell you that I think if I had to choose, that's art. That's what artists do. So I'm not going to blame the director. Okay, someone had to pay.
You're blaming the distributor.
Well, I mean, if there's blame to go out, and I think the rage right now is kind of focused on Netflix, and I think if you look at the poster, I mean, they sexed those kids up to a ridiculous degree that, again, I have kids that age. I don't see that. If that was a 14-year-old, it would make more sense, but not at the age of 11.
We just cracked 2,000. We appreciate you guys. Your comments, we're seeing them. Give a thumbs up.
You know, it's hurt Netflix, hasn't it? I mean,
$9 billion. You know, they lost $9 billion, but
does that bother them?
I don't think so.
Because they're worth how many hundred million?
I don't think that does anything to Netflix. If you ask me, Hastings is sitting up there and just going to say, well, this thing's going to pass us by. We're going to be all right.
Here's my next follow-up question for you guys. I asked you if you were going to buy California stock. What are you doing with Netflix stock? You're buying, you're shorting, you're selling?
Netflix is not going away.
You know what? If I had to pick between Hulu and Netflix, I pick Hulu. I like Hulu better.
You like Hulu
I
better?
could live without Netflix easily, I think. I could easily.
Could you live without Hulu?
No, because it has live TV. That's how we get live TV.
Great
you cut the cord,
yes.
you go to Hulu.
Interesting. And I think they do better commercials, if you ask me.
They do with the athletes.
Awesome. That's the best. Damian Lillard and all these commercials they do is phenomenal.
And with that fake agent, he's classic.
Yeah, I love the marketing that they have over there. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen there. Let's see what we want to hit up next. You know what? Let's hit up Naveed Afghani. Okay, why don't we hit this up? Because I think I don't know if you guys are following the story or not, but I want to hit this up. And Kai, I don't know if you have the video or not. If you don't, it's all good. It's totally fine. If you can just pull up the picture so we can talk about what happened here. So, and if you can go to my Twitter profile as well, just to show what happened. So for those of you that don't know, Naveed Afghani is a wrestler in Iran, a national champion. If you can pull up his picture so we know what he looks like. He's a national champion in Iran, wrestler. 2 years ago, he decides to protest against what was going on in Iran with 200 other people and his two brothers, okay? So he goes out there and he protests. And, you know, the economy in Iran's not doing very well. It's challenging times. Of course, there's the sanctions that U.S. has put. So these guys are having a hard time. And he goes up against the prime minister, says, we need to do something in Iran because this is not going the right direction. Long story short, he ends up getting arrested because he is a national champion. He's a figurehead. People know who he is. He gets arrested. They take him in. They go and they put oil in his, alcohol in his nose for him to admit that he killed somebody. So eventually, to stop from being tortured, he says what? Fine, I did it, okay? They announced just 2 weeks ago they're going to execute this guy. Iran announced that they're going to execute him and kill him, right? There's three brothers. They decide to execute him, but the world's like, maybe they're not going to do it. He's going to get 74 whiplashes and then get executed. His other brother is going to get 74 whiplashes and go to jail for 52 years or 54 years. His other brother is going to get 74 lashes on his back and go to jail for 27 years, okay? This is what the charges were against these three brothers for simply protesting, right? I go out there on Twitter. If you can post my Twitter tweet that I put up, and here's what I said on Twitter. I made a video about it. Go up, go up, go up, go up, go up. A little bit higher. You're almost there. You're almost there, right there. So I go up and I said, pause it. And I said, those who live in a country with human rights rarely think about it, and those who don't can't stop thinking about it. Iran hasn't valued human rights for over 40 years. If you agree with this, please retweet and tag Olympics. Let's save the life of Naveed Afghani. My message here was directed to the Olympics. The reason why it was directed to the Olympics was because Olympics can do something about this to say, if you do and move forward with this execution, guess what? We are going to cancel Iran competing in the Olympics. So I announced this. Then if you go up there to a CNN article to see what the Olympics said, just type in Naveed Afghani in a search. Go to search and type in Naveed Afghani and type right there, CNN. It just came up, CNN, first one. Go on the second article, and let's read this together. Iranian champion wrestler Naveed Afghani executed despite international campaign. So he was executed a couple days ago. If you can make it a little bit smaller, Kai, so I can read it to the audience right there. So the International Olympic Committee said it was shocked by the announcement. In letters, Thomas Bach, the IOC president, had made direct personal appeals to the supreme leader and to the president of Iran this week and asked for mercy for Naveed Afghani while respecting the sovereignty of the Islamic Republic of Iran, the statement said. It is deeply upsetting that the pleas of athletes from around the world and all the behind-the-scenes work of the IOC together with the NOC of Iran, United World Wrestling, and National Iran Wrestling Federation did not achieve our goal. Fine. So you went and you plead. So I said tag Olympics. We tagged Olympics on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter maybe 10,000 times. I said, okay. So they make this statement. They reached out to Iran. Iran doesn't listen to what the Olympics say. Say, screw you. We're going to execute him even though you like this or not. Mother comes out. If you watch the mother's speech, you will be heartbroken if you listen to what the mother says. Now, here's a couple stats for people that are watching this. Iran is the number 2 country in the world for executions. Last year was 253 people were executed. This is not the death penalty, by the way. This is execution. There's a big difference between execution and death penalty. Execution is German type of execution, and death penalty is a different kind of death penalty. You go up there, you do. Obviously, there's a form of execution, but you go through execution. Out of the 253 people that were executed, 13 of them were live, in person. Let me say this one more time. In Iran, 253 people were executed. 13 of them were live. People came and saw a person being executed.
Where, in the streets?
In the street. It's a statement. If you do this, this is what's going to happen to you. They're the number 2 country in the world in execution.
Number one, China?
You know who's the number 1 country in the world?
Saudi Arabia?
China's number 1. China's number 1. Iran's number 2. So then I said, okay, let me pull up the list of what countries have been banned from the Olympics. Kai, can you pull up the history of countries that have been banned from the Olympics? This is the list that we have. Olympic countries banned from the Olympics. The banning of the Russian athletes team Rio Olympics, not the first time a team or country has been banned from participating in the Olympics. Here's a timeline of countries that have been banned. 1920, Antwerp. 5 countries were banned due to the environment, the First World War: Austria, Bulgaria, Turkey, Hungary, and Germany. Fine. Paris, in 1924, the ban of Germany following World War II makes sense. Through the Austria, Bulgaria, Turkey, Hungary were allowed to compete. 1948, London, Germany, and Japan were barred for their participation in the Second World War. Fine, so Germany and Japan were barred. 1964, Tokyo. South Africa was banned by the IOC for taking part due to its oppressive, how do you pronounce that word? Apartheid regime, which, say that
Apartheid.
again? Apartheid, which
yeah,
is,
yeah,
apartheid is what? Like, it's segregation.
It's like
another
segregation,
word.
exactly.
Blacks and whites, the whole
Exactly.
segregation.
Exactly.
So they
very
were
famous in South Africa.
And by the way, that
Mandela.
happened year after year after year after year. So 64, 68, 72. This goes on with South Africa. You can keep going lower and lower. So South Africa has been banned. By the way, 1968, North Korea competed again in second GNFO in 1966, which meant they were suspended by the IOC, causing the nation to miss 1968 Olympics as well. So 1968, Mexico, North Korea couldn't compete. 1972, Munich, South Africa, as well as Zimbabwe was banned from participating as other African countries threatened to pull out if Rhodesia took part. Okay, 1976, Montreal, South Africa, South Africa, South Africa. 2000, Sydney, Afghanistan was banned from the Olympics due to its discrimination against women under Taliban rule, as well as its prohibition of sports of any kind. And then you have, obviously, 2016. Many Russian competitors were banned following revelations of state-sponsored doping. All athletes from... Okay, Okay, you see all this stuff, right? Okay, so let's come to today. Okay, Olympics, you pleaded for an athlete to not be executed, and Iran didn't listen. Now what are you going to do? Are you now going to say, fine, you are banned from the next Olympics? So now when you say that, some people say, well, that's not fair because you are making people's dreams not become a reality in Iran that are trained so hard to go become a Olympic winner. Here's one thing you have to realize. I have an agent that works for us. His name is Morteza Alborzi, okay? Phenomenal guy. I met this guy when I was 23 years old. He's a sweetheart of a guy. He's doing very well for himself in our company right now. Morteza Alborzi out of LA. He's a 8 or a 9 degree black belt. Can you type in Morteza Alborzi black belt? Morteza Alborzi black belt. Morteza.
Spell it for us too, Kai.
Z-A. You got it. Actually, perfect
Nice
so
job.
far. He spells better Farsi than English, by the way. So Alborzi, A-L-B-O-R. Right there, it came up, right? And Morteza Alborzi black belt. Yeah, okay, perfect. Press that and then go to images, okay? This guy's been all over the place when it comes down to martial arts, okay? Right here. Right there. No, you had it right. Just go on that magazine that says Masters. Go on the magazine that says Masters. If you go back, that's him, Alborzi, okay? 8 degree, 9 degree black belt. He was in jail in Iran. He's been one of the top Olympic trainers and not judges, but somebody that trained the Iranian team for the longest time, right? He escaped. He came to America. He trained here. He trained a lot of students here. Tens of thousands of students in Beverly Hills have taken his classes. This man has built so many young boys that became leaders. Moral of the story is this. If the Olympics are so serious about this movement, why don't you ban Iran and China of the next Olympics that we have? Why don't we do that?
Okay, well, I'll ask you this question because you're from there. Wouldn't the regime in Iran right now look at a ban from the IOC similar to a public execution? Like, they don't give a damn about promoting sports in Iran. They just want to suppress their people, stay in power. So that would almost strengthen them a little bit to say, we're still going to do what we do and execute people if we perceive that you commit these crimes. They might embrace that because they don't really care.
Oh, I don't think that's how this works, though. Let me tell you how this works. Tom, how much longer are you going to tolerate California mistreating you? At what levels?
Couple months.
No, but at what levels is a breaking point for you? I mean, by the way, I'm not. This has got nothing to do with our relationship.
Right.
I'm just asking you.
Right. Whatever the answer is, it's out there. All right. It exists.
Okay. But could California push you to a breaking point of you saying you're leaving?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess anything's possible.
Did that happen to me? Could they push me out? He left Colombia. His family left Mexico. Right. I mean, how come we have 40 million immigrants in the U.S.? How come people are leaving other countries? I think Iran thinks their people won't do anything about it. And they have to understand this whole sanction that Trump put on Iran. Why did he put the sanctions on Iran?
Strengthen Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Why else did he put the sanctions on Iran?
Because it's evil, maybe.
as a method of saying, hey, and then he supported the revolution of the people wanting to protest against Iran, right? For what? For maybe a fall of an empire in Iran that is not believing in human rights, not taking care of its people. They're claiming what they're doing. The people are afraid. They're oppressed. I mean, you're trying to get people to have some kind of a freedom. Yeah. This would be a certain statement that's being made to say, look, we don't support execution. We don't support what you're doing because you're doing that. Look, forget about the Olympics.
But I agree with you. I think that's what they should do. But would it have any effect on the leadership in Iran? I don't think so. Couldn't there be a coup? Isn't this a country where that could actually happen? I couldn't see it happening really in North Korea and some of these other places. But don't they have the ability there to covert? I mean, with the support of the U.S., with the support of Saudi Arabia, to flip this eventually? Or is it too difficult?
To flip what?
The leadership in Iran. To get rid of these.
Of course you could do it. I mean, of course you could do it. It's not.
How is it done?
How is it done? It's painful, and it's going to cost a lot of people's lives, and it's going to be a lot of young lives. This is why it's not the younger generation that doesn't want a revolution. It's the older generation that's telling their kids, be careful. Don't go out there. Don't, which I fully support. Every parent would tell their kids that. But the opposition, when you look at, when you talk to when you meet a lot of Persians, you'll hear a lot of people say things like this in LA. They'll say, I don't know why it is, man. When I meet Persians, man, Persians are such good business people. They're always making money. It's not that they're making such good money. It's the fact that the business people of Iran left Iran to come over here. It's not that they are the business people of Iran left Iran. It's not that all Persian people are business people. Do you understand what I just said?
Right? Opportunity to make money.
It's that they left Iran to come over here. The business people that left Iran it's a filtering process that you have.
The capitalists left.
Yeah, basically. Look, I got kids, man. I'd love to one day take my kids to Iran. And quite frankly, 2 years ago, I was going to go on a trip to Iran with a few friends and not publicize it, just to go to Iran because I miss my country I was born in. I wanted to go to the streets I was raised, all this other stuff. But for me to go to Iran today would not be the smartest move to make, to go to Iran today.
No chance you would go.
They'd be waiting for you.
They would be waiting for somebody like me.
They would love to set an example with a guy like you.
They would love nothing more than that. Yes. But I would love one day to go there with a group of friends and say, hey, here's what it looks like, man. It's a beautiful country, man. The history of it is so beautiful to go to it. But I heartbroken when I saw that Naveed Afghani was executed.
It's unbelievable. How about his brothers in jail the rest of their life?
What percentage of Iranians would love to see a coup?
A big part.
50%?
No, it's a bigger that. It's a
bigger than 50%.
No question. But here's the thing: the only reason why that number could change is one question: at what cost? 100%, 95% would love to see a coup, but at what cost? Then the cost is only 20% or 10% or 5% would like to see a coup with the cost. I don't know if this makes sense or not. It's like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, what percentage of the world would like to be a millionaire? Well, everybody.
Of course,
but what percentage is willing to work 80 hours a week for 10 years? Well, not 1%. A big percentage. So it's at what cost am I willing to get the coup?
Do we have any case examples of coups initiated by the people? Obviously, we can't look at Iraq. U.S. came in there, invaded them, right? Or we can't look at Libya, type of thing. What coups have been successful over the last 50 years?
Well, I mean, a revolution flipped Iran 40-some years ago.
That's 40 years ago. Yeah. So since then.
The perfect example, they have the playbook for it in Iran. Kai, were you trying to say something?
Yeah.
We can't hear you.
Use the mic, Kai.
A lot of the Eastern European bloc had revolutions when they broke
When they broke off from Russia, you're saying?
Yeah.
Or the USSR.
Hey, Pat, were you surprised?
Arab Spring is another one popping out in 2010.
That's a good point. Just recent, 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Look at Libya. I mean, look at these countries. Gaddafi. Were you surprised they actually went through with the execution? To me, personally, I was a little bit surprised.
Well, did you see what Trump tweeted yesterday about Iran? Type in Trump tweets and go to see what he said about Iran yesterday. In the middle of the night, by the way. I don't know if you saw that or not. Did you guys see that or no? Have you seen what Trump tweeted? Okay, so this is 2 days after the execution. Go up a little bit to make sure it's not that. Okay, you're good. It's not that one. Keep going, keep going, keep going. This is what Trump just said about Iran. Okay, right there. Click on that one right there. Okay, click on it so we can read the whole thing. According to press reports, Iran may be planning an assassination or other attack against the United States in retaliation for the killing of terrorist leader Soleimani, which was carried out for his planning a future attack, murdering U.S. troops, and the death and suffering caused over so many years. Any attack by Iran in any form against the United States will be met with an attack on Iran that will be 1,000 times greater in magnitude, right? Okay, that happens 2 days after the execution of Naveed Afghani, okay? So you asked the question, were you surprised? Because you were surprised. I'm not surprised Adam asked a question yesterday, which was a very good question. You said something about, don't you think Iran is trying to make a statement to say, hey, man, you keep bullying us and publicize us. We're going to show you in a different way.
Because Trump tweeted, please do not execute this man. Okay, thanks, Trump.
So you're saying Trump tweeted, please do not execute, and they did. So
I'm just saying they're not going to listen to Trump.
Guys, I'm 7 years old, looking outside my window, fourth floor in Iran, on Khiyaban Hojat, and I'm seeing thousands of people marching down the street, flagellating their backs. You know what flagellating is?
Yeah, self-whipping themselves.
But it's peeling the skin off your back, so it's leaving a trail of blood. And they're screaming, Mark Bad America, death upon America. The messaging of what the media says to the Iranian people about America, if you live in Iran, America is the worst, most evil empire in the world if you live in Iran. It's their method of preventing their citizens to leave to come to Iran, come to U.S. Because
all propaganda.
In Iran,
North Korea, Iran,
my gosh,
propaganda.
If you had a Michael Jackson shirt on in the 80s, you were the coolest cat on campus. I'm
in
telling
Iran.
you, in Iran, if you had a Michael Jackson shirt on, that was like, if you wore a Calvin Klein or a Tommy Hilfiger shirt, you're the coolest guy on campus. If you got a Tommy Hilfiger shirt. So yes, I think majority of Iran would like to see it. I just don't know if it's going to happen.
I'll say this: they didn't listen to Trump's plea. He begged. Hey, please. He was very respectful in that tweet where he asked them not to execute the wrestler. I don't think they're going to look at that as bluster. I think they believe. After 4 years, he pretty much backs up what he says. So, right? A lot of times people think of what Trump's doing. He's, a maniac with tweets or whatnot. But if they did something, don't you believe that 1,000 times might be accurate as far as what the retaliation would be? Don't you think the Iranian leadership might hate Trump, but do you think they respect him a little bit? That might be true, and they better. Do you think he's kept them under his thumb a little bit out of fear?
Yeah. So my guesstimation is the following. When they retaliated after Soleimani was killed, do you remember what Iran did? Do you remember what they attacked? They attacked a military base that was empty.
Right.
Okay, if you remember that. They attacked an empty military base to say, look what we did if you come after Soleimani, right? And then they said, we're not going to attack. But the guy in Iranian, the military, I think it's a foreign minister, I don't know which one it is. By the way, can you type in Iran foreign minister? The guy's a genius. If you've never seen this guy's interview, this is a strategist. This is not a lightweight guy.
If you're talking
Let
about
me see if it's go to images to see go to images.
Javad Zarif.
Go to images.
Yes. This guy's legit.
Yeah, this guy is he is, if you've ever seen any of his interviews, he's not a lightweight. Okay, he's not a lightweight.
Can I tell you something about this guy? Who's my favorite guy on CNN that I always I love this guy. I love this guy.
CNN,
Fareed Zakaria.
Yes.
He does a show every Sunday. Brainiac. This guy comes on the show quite often. An Iranian foreign minister comes on the show quite often. If you did not know all the issues that United States has with Iran, he is very convincing.
He's very convincing. Very convincing. He did an interview on CNN. He's very convincing. And he is very strategic. So my guess is the following: if they do attack, do you think Trump is dead serious about the counterattack to Iran?
Yeah.
I do.
Do you think he's dead serious about how ugly it's going to be for Iran? Yes or no?
Frankly, yes, I do.
Do you say yes?
He is known for his bluster. However, with Iran, I think he's paying very close attention to them.
If Iran attacks a military base and one soldier dies, do you think Trump will retaliate?
I agree, yes.
Do you think the exchange will be one soldier for one soldier?
No.
Or do you think it's going to be 1,000 soldiers?
I think he will make a point.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think they won't do anything until there's a different president that's a little softer and easier going to be able to make an attack like that. That's what I think. Yeah.
Iran.
Yeah, because look, what did Iran do the day Jimmy Carter was no longer president? What did they do the day Reagan became a president? What did they do? What did Iran do?
Backed off, I'm sure.
They released the prisoners. You don't remember the releasing the prisoners? And Reagan gave the speech giving credit to Carter and saying things. But what Iran realizes, Carter's not going to attack us.
I thought Ben Affleck did that.
Yeah, Ben Affleck did that.
Argo.
Carter won't attack us, but Reagan will. So, there is a part of Trump and Reagan that they have some similarities. But
where is Iran on the nuclear proliferation at this point? With everything that happened with the Iran nuclear deal and Obama giving him a boatload of cash and then Trump pulling out, and then they said that they're going to start the nuclear proliferation again. Where are they with that?
They got this one country, I don't know if you've heard of, called China, that's giving them $400 billion. And China just doubled their nuclear powers that they had in China, they doubled it. Not a little bit, they doubled it. They're spending money into it. And if they're befriending North Korea and they're befriending Iran, it tells you who China's allies are.
And it also,
the new axis of evil.
Well, and then the dynamic of the U.S. supporting Saudi Arabia like we are. Troops, financial support right there to keep Iran in line. So far, so good.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I'd love to see nothing more than to see Iran be free again, and maybe I'll be doing some interviews on that topic here pretty soon. But let's talk about Singapore, a new flight that came out that's Adam's type of flight. Okay,
that's my type
Singapore
of flight.
Airlines came out with a no destination flight, meaning a no destination flight to nowhere. Yeah. Can you pull that up, Kai, so everybody can see this thing? So these flights will take off and land at the same destination and will stay in air for around 2 hours. Singapore Airlines plan comes after a survey by Singapore Air Charter showed 75% of 308 participants were willing to buy tickets on these types of flights, according to the Straits Times report. So by the way, this is not a joke. This is not an Onion story.
Right.
This is not a Bumble. What is that other
right,
website?
Bumblebee.
Yeah, this is a real story.
You know why they're doing it?
Why are they doing it?
They got to keep their status, right? They're like 4,000 miles short of keeping that gold status for the next year.
That's what it is?
No, I don't. I don't think there's any reason
Adam,
for doing
tell
this.
us your thoughts. Adam's excited about this one.
Yeah, exactly. So you get on the plane. You do the whole, all right, everyone, instructions. You put on the seatbelt, the face mask if it comes down. You take off. You deal with the turbulence. You fly around in the sky for a little bit. You land in 3 hours.
Yeah.
There's one reason you go on this flight.
Why is that?
You join the Mile High Club. That's
is that what it is?
If I'm with my girl and I'm like, hey, babe, we want to go on a little day trip. Well, I don't know. We're on COVID. We got lockdown. What else we got going on? Mile High Club. Do you disagree?
Well, what if your girlfriend said, I'm already in the club?
Hey, I've been on the club too, but we got to do this together. So
those bathrooms, unfortunately, are very small.
But what are you going to do? Sit there? Who's going on this flight and being like, yeah, I'll pay for the middle seat and I'll just sit here?
I'll tell you what, I bet it's good service. Singapore Airlines, good service.
I'm telling you, something's going on those
So you're saying it's like a mile-high orgy going on. That's what you're saying.
I don't know about all that, but I'm saying
you're taking it to hold.
This is how bored people are these days. Is they're gonna get on a flight to nowhere.
I mean, have you guys used Singapore Airlines?
No, have you?
The treatment is another class.
Really?
Yes. Singapore Airlines is to know like
I'm telling you,
loyalty, how they treat.
By the way, this is Sam from Colombia who used to travel a lot with Pablo Escobar's cousin. And he's been all over Singapore.
He used to go to Singapore a lot.
He used to go to Singapore a lot.
There it is.
Chic J says, spot on, soy boy.
Yeah, what's up, Chic J, with a beautiful picture of himself. No, that's Trump. He looks like Trump.
I mean, you got a lot of things going on.
Great.
So that's Singapore.
So I want to know how many people in the audience, by the way, we're at 2,100 now. Much respect to our valuetainers on the PBD show. How many people out there are going to get on a flight, pay your couple $100, fly around in the air for 3 hours, and just return back to where you started? How many people out there are getting on this flight?
I wonder what
Please
they're charging
give
for
a little feedback.
What are they charging for this flight?
I wonder what they are.
What's the going rate? $100, $200, $300? Okay, so I don't know.
By the way, Pat, I have a new demographic for you to promote your book to.
Tell me.
Flight attendants. They have nothing to do on planes right now in the U.S.
We should make an ad for it. Just flight attendants.
Just fly. All I do when I'm flying back and forth from California is, you see the flight. They don't do anything. They're in the back of the plane reading books. That's all they do.
Are the flights still full when you come in here or no?
Kind of. The weird thing is there's no business travelers. And if you've flown, everybody knows this. You're just used to business travelers, right? Being 80% of a flight. And it's 0% of the flight right now. So it's a different dynamic. The whole flying experience is a little bit different right now. But I have noticed that the flight attendants don't have to do squat. They do nothing. There's no service. So they don't have to do anything. But they're reading books. They're always in the back reading a book.
Well, I think flight attendants probably read more romance novels than books like Your Next 5 Moves. That's what
but they might be.
It's more 50 Shades of Grey type of a market than Your Next 5 Moves.
If you work for an airline, wouldn't you want to be thinking of Your Next 5 Moves? I think it's a good market.
I mean, there's no question about it. I fully agree with you on that.
I'm getting a lot of nope. No one's flying. No one's flying. No one's flying.
All right, so Singapore.
No one's going on this.
Guys, if you're watching this, you're enjoying it, press the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel and click on the alert so you're notified the next time we come out with our following podcast.
Love you too, Eli Perez.
So, again, no one on this channel has more nickname Soy Boy followers, fans than you with your nickname Soy Boy. But Let's talk about Warren Buffett. How about Warren Buffett? Okay. Buffett campaigned for Obama and Clinton, but he hasn't donated or spoken out for Biden, and no one knows why. Buffett is now a longtime Democrat. The CEO hosted a high-dollar fundraiser for President Obama's re-election campaign in 2011, served as his unofficial economic advisor ahead of the 2016 election. Buffett spoke at a campaign rally for her Secretary Hillary Clinton. The Wall Street Journal floated the theory that Buffett's silence could be due to his dislike of the virtual event format favored by a Biden campaign. Buffett's personal fortune has declined $7.3 billion in the past year. Business Insider previously reported more in dollar terms than anyone else on the Forbes 100 of the richest Americans. Yeah. So, why is Buffett not campaigning for Biden? It's
obvious.
Why is that?
The guy's going broke, man. I mean, it's tough. He can't even
Buffett,
afford. Yeah,
struggling financially.
He's struggling financially. He can't afford to even make an $18 donation.
He may,
Joe Biden.
You know what?
It's tough.
He
lost $7 billion this year.
I
it's
think
tough.
maybe it's so stressful that he needs to go on a flight on Singapore Airlines.
Hey, I got another theory. He's 90 years old. Maybe he doesn't know there's an election.
Nah,
I'm kidding. I know he's behind you here.
Buffett's on the you and your age bashing. This is the second time around.
No, I'm only doing it with Buffett.
Maybe he's on point.
I know he is. I'm messing. He's right behind Pat on the wall. So
any reason or no? Any reason or no?
Buffett's on the wall.
That's Milton Friedman. Most people think it's Buffett. But
Buffett's got a way better head. It's Milton Friedman. Capitalism.
So, but do you read into it at all?
That's Morgan Freeman. Who is that? That's Morgan Freeman. No, that's MLK. Oh, okay, all right.
Do you read into it at all? At all? Like Buffett is not campaigning.
I think we're reaching here, ladies and gentlemen.
You think so?
I think we are
there is a
reaching
point.
right here.
He can't decide. I mean, usually
I think we are completely reaching right here. I think this is a reach.
Well, I tell you what,
think Buffett's
I will tell
fine.
you. But I will tell you one thing. If you remember when Buffett went out there and campaigned, a lot of people during Obama were like, wow, if Buffett is saying this, maybe we got to just go for the re-election. It was very powerful when Buffett came out because everybody sits there and looks at the Michael Jordan of investment during our era to be who? Buffett. So if the richest guy who's an investor, not the richest guy in the world, but richest investor out there is supporting a Democratic candidate, why can't I? So I think it's a very I actually think a Buffett endorsement is worth more than Ellen DeGeneres, than LeBron James, than any of the celebrities all combined.
Yeah.
I think Buffett is worth more of an endorsement than all the Hollywood left celebrities combined.
Yeah, okay.
That's what
credibility.
Hey,
I think so.
I think he's conflicted. Realistically, I really do. Because who's his best friend? Bill Gates, or one of his really good friends. Bill Gates isn't going to waffle. He's going to be supporting a Democrat. Maybe Buffett looks at the evidence, he looks at the tax plans, and he knows the better choice is to go with Trump, but he supported the Democrat candidate for so many years. He's friends with Bill Gates and some of the others that he can't come out and say anything. That's a possibility.
Listen, the guy has called for higher taxes on himself. I don't think he necessarily cares. I think we're reading into this situation. I think, and I'll go back to what I've said before. You know why Biden may win this election? You said 15% chance. I'm giving it a 50% chance, maybe 49% at this point. It's not because people are excited about Biden. Straight up. Nobody I know is like, Biden, bro, he's the man. You got to see how he sniffs women and how he falls asleep in public. You got to check this. No. This is either you're for Trump or you're against Trump. And the reality is this, 42% of the country is for Trump. 46% of the country is against Trump. 4% are voting for Joe Jorgensen, and 10% are still confused and they're not sure what they're doing. That's all this is. So
I like Charles Fuchs said, I'm moving to Iran if Biden wins.
Good luck. See, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Going there in Singapore
Obviously,
Air.
let's hope that guy's joking. But if he's not, good luck in Iran, buddy.
You really like defending as if he's being serious. You think that guy's
no,
being serious about going to Iran?
Everything is so polarized these days.
No, but listen, man. Half of Hollywood said if Trump gets elected, they're moving to Canada.
Right.
They're still in Hollywood. Yeah. I mean, it's like the biggest thing. I swear to God, if they do this.
Right.
But there are a few that say, I swear to God, if they do this, I'm moving out of the state of California or New York. $336 billion of wealth left New York, and they never thought it was going to happen. Okay, that's a lot of money to have left. So, again, 39.6% capital gains. Kramer was doing a story yesterday. I don't know if you saw Kramer yesterday. So
Seinfeld Kramer?
No,
came in?
not
Jim Kramer.
Jim
Mad
Kramer
Money
is doing
CNBC,
Mad Money
I know.
CNBC.
Yeah.
And he says, well, there's some people are saying that the Biden tax plan is a little bit aggressive. And then he says, and he's trying to prevent himself from saying it. Then in the middle of the sentence, just it's chronically aggressive. So he just kind of goes, meaning he couldn't even.
Well, he loses credibility
because he can't stand Trump. So he didn't want to say anything. But even he knows.
Jim Kramer cannot stand
Jim
Trump.
Kramer, by the way, data came back. This is from Wall Street Journal. Biden's budget to result. Can you type this up? Type in Wall Street Journal, Biden's budget. They have to see this. Wall Street Journal, Biden's budget. There you go. Right there. There you go. Look at that article. Click on that one right there. I hope you can close the top. Can you close it right there? Biden budget to result in highest spending in decades, study finds. His proposal would total $5.4 trillion in new spending over the next 10 years. That's a lot of money. $5.4 trillion of spending over the next 10 years. It's a lot of money. So that leads me to what happened yesterday. Can you go up to the Tim Kennedy tweet with Donald Trump before we get into the story? Just type in Tim Kennedy, Trump. Here we go. But the one where he puts on my podcast. Okay, right there. Click on that one. Okay. So Tim Kennedy tweets out, on my podcast with Joe Rogan, he offered to moderate a debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. It would be 4 hours with no live audience, just the two candidates, cameras, and their vision of how to move this country forward. Who wants this? He tweets this out. It gets 44,000 retweets, 234,000 likes, and Donald Trump retweets it. And what does Donald Trump say? Donald Trump says, if you can go to his Twitter account, go to Donald Trump's Twitter account. Just all you had to do was click on Donald Trump right there, buddy. Donald Trump right there where it says Donald Trump. Kai, on the tweet, it says Donald Trump. Okay, go up. Keep going up. Keep going up.
Nice visual.
Keep going up. Donald Trump retweets and says, I do. Meaning, he would do it. Keep going until you find it so the viewers can see it. Donald Trump says, I would.
He's in, for sure.
So he's in. So 4-hour debate between Trump and Biden on the Rogan show. Can you see it? Would Biden agree to it? Would Trump agree to it? And if it did happen, is that the direction media is going towards?
Biden never, his handlers would never let him do that. Trump in a heartbeat would do it. I say do it as a pay-per-view and then have Bruce Buffer involved and then give the money to the winning side. I mean, let's score this thing, treat it like a sporting event. Trump would definitely do it. That's his venue. That's where he shines. 4 hours, he'd love that.
I think he would love that. So Kai, maybe just go on Twitter, go on Google and try to find it and bring you back up while you're going down the pictures here. So, Adam, what would you say to this? Rogan, Trump, Biden debate on Rogan for 4 hours.
Yeah, Biden's, still has no clue who Joe Rogan is. So he's probably Googling him right now and being like, I don't even know this guy. But I did a poll on my social media on Saz Talks Money, and I said, would you want to see this debate? Would you want to see this? Most polls I do are, 60-40, this, that. Sometimes they're 80-20. Do you know the results on this poll? Take a guess.
85%.
85%? Okay.
90. Everybody would want to see it.
94%. Wow. Hell yeah.
Wow.
That was the options. Hell yeah or maybe. The people out there want to see a debate from Joe Rogan with Donald Trump and Sleepy Joe Biden. They want that debate. I'd like to hear our audience weigh in on that. Would you want to see Joe Rogan host the debate between the MAGA man, Donald Trump,
what do you think about
Sleepy Joe?
What do you think about it? Do you want to see it?
I think anything that gets more eyeballs on debates is a good thing. I think anything that makes uninteresting, boring debates watchable and palatable, a good thing. More people involved in politics is a good thing.
My first priority is good TV. That would be incredible TV.
Ratings, we want ratings.
Not watch that. It'd be amazing. It'd be unbelievable. I mean, look, these debates with the same moderators, Anderson Cooper, somebody from PBS, no one wants to see that. Everything's packaged. Joe Rogan would have them on their heels just because he's not is learned in the political issues as much as some of these other debate moderators.
Go on YouTube, type in Joe Rogan. Go on YouTube, type in Joe Rogan on YouTube, Kai. Go to YouTube first.
We're getting a lot of hell yeah,
buddy, Kai,
hell
we
yeah.
really have to work on this. It's basic stuff.
Yes.
Just type in Joe Rogan and then solve filters at the top and go to views.
Our audience would love to see this.
Okay. All right, so watch
Joe
it.
Rogan
No,
debate.
it's not done right. Go to, it's coming up. Okay. Go to, there you go. Perfect. Okay, there we go, Kai. Okay, watch this. Joe Rogan's most viewed podcast is with Elon Musk. 37 million views.
When he smoked that most expensive
I will tell you,
joint.
if Rogan is able to pull off Trump and Biden, I'm telling you right now, that's a 50 million plus view debate that'll take place.
Yeah.
And that's why it'll never happen. It's exactly why it'll never happen. Because the part that we keep going back to about these things is the following. When you're an agent and you have a manager, the manager's job or the agent's job or the guy that's the corner man is to protect who? The fighter,
protect
the
the
talent,
fighter.
the whoever it is, the candidate,
Client,
right?
yeah.
How well does Biden look on TV?
Horrible.
How does he do on TV?
He stutters.
Yeah.
He's bad.
He's pretty bad. There's no way in the world his marketing manager is going to allow this debate to be taking place. And by the way, Trump tweeted it like this. You haven't heard anything from Biden. There's no way Biden would do it.
Never.
Not in a million years. However, here's a couple things to be thinking about. Number one, how did politics transition? Like, go back 200 years ago. When you read about politics, what were people doing 200 years ago to campaign?
Debates. They would have open format debates. Lincoln, Douglas, the famous debate. They
Town
would have,
hall.
Yeah, town hall debates. Exactly.
Then big-time newspapers. Then after
Radio,
newspapers was radio.
FDR.
Then it was TV with Kennedy Nixon when Kennedy
Exactly.
crushed Nixon because Nixon
1960,
didn't shave
exactly.
and he had a 4 o'clock
Exactly.
shave. Maybe it's time to go into podcast debates. Maybe it's time that American people want to go. Like yesterday, I'm on the phone with one of the top schools in South Florida. Okay, I'm talking
Great
to this
story, by
lady.
the way.
It's actually a very good story. I'm talking to this lady, and I'm asking her questions. She tells me about the private schools, about $35,000 per year per kid, whether it's kindergarten or senior, by the way. And she says, I said, so tell me about the philosophies of the school. She says, what do you mean? I said, faith-based. How do you feel about this? She said, well, we're definitely not a faith-based, but we have a psychologist on campus that if your kids need to have some issues and they're having challenging times, our psychologists are willing to sit down and talk to your kids. I'm like, great. So psychologists are going to teach my kids character. That's okay, no problem. I said, how does your school feel about capitalism? She says, you must be a Trump supporter. I said, no, I'm a capitalism supporter. I'm a diehard capitalism supporter. She says, well, what we do in our school is we will teach socialism and we will teach capitalism, and then we will let the kids decide which one they think is better. I said, wait, what? She says, yes. I'm like, okay. Then she continues, as she's explaining all this other stuff, she says, I said, you know.
Someone goes, must be American.
Must be what?
American heritage.
Oh, that's also a good school in Florida, by the way. So then I asked the question, she says, watch this. Then I asked the question, there's 2 schools that are hardcore like that. One is Pinecrest, one is American Heritage. Yeah. So
someone hit it on the nose.
Someone hit it on
We're
the nose.
We're up to 2.2. Keep that thumbs up coming, guys.
Watch this, though. So then I asked the question, and I said, so what are your thoughts? She says, well, I have 3 kids going over here. So what do you think about the school and then the philosophies in the school? She says, I said, because on your Instagram account, your school, just so you know, follows NPR, follows CNN, follows UNICEF, follows the World Health Organization, follows everybody on the left, but it doesn't follow anybody on the right. She says, who says that? I said, your Instagram account. So I go on their Instagram account, and I show it to her. She says, I can promise you our owners don't know this. I said, what do you mean your owners don't know this? She says, Patrick, I'm telling you, our owners don't have a clue about this, about the fact that by the way, that's crazy. They just changed it all from yesterday till today.
Wow, that's activism. Okay. Nice job.
So she
Where'd
says.
they change it to?
Anyway, so I go and I look at a lot of this stuff. So I said, why is it? So I'm telling you, we probably didn't even know about this. That's our marketing department that does this. So then she says to me, she says, Patrick, she says, I don't watch Fox. I don't watch CNN. The only thing my husband and I consume moving forward is all podcasts. We don't consume any news anymore. It's all podcasts. I said, who do you follow? Then she gives me your names. I follow Mark Levin. I said, okay, good. I follow Stossel. I follow Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino's a stud. You know who that guy is. So she says, but I don't follow any of the podcasts, anything. And then in the middle of it, she snaps. She says, oh, my gosh, you're Patrick BetDavid. I swear to God, my husband and I follow your stuff. Valuetainment. She showed me the subscribership. The point she made to me yesterday was what? She said, we don't watch TV. We simply listen to podcasts. Because podcasts are an easier way for me to get the news. How many more people in America no longer tune into the news and TV. This is why debate may need to be on
Pat,
podcasts, and I hope it happens.
Pat, I can support that statement so much. You know, I considered myself such a media-savvy, TV-savvy individual. I worked in television for 15 years on the news. I thought that was the most important thing. I really did. And whenever somebody said, I don't watch TV, I thought they were idiots. I thought they were either lying or idiots.
Yep.
I turn on... Like, I've cut the cord, basically, all right? So I've got apps. But if I go to DirecTV, I find that to be archaic. I find that technology to be so old, you know, where you can't go past the commercials or do things like that or rewind or anything like that. I only watch the apps and get my news and things like that. So I think the transition is real, is happening. That's how Obama won. I mean, he focused on social media. And then Trump did the exact same thing and beat Hillary by focusing on social media. This is where people are getting information, his podcast right now. Here's the other thing about your story. The scariest thing about your story was her admitting that they teach socialism. Are you kidding me?
I love the fact that she was at least honest about it. She could have lied.
Holy crap. I can't believe, because I always wonder, where do these kids that love Bernie Sanders come from? I mean, if you truly understand what communism is all about, how are these kids that are supporting him and so passionate about it, where do they come from? But she just said it. They're being taught in schools what socialism is.
I'm actually surprised they're learning one or the other. I never learned about capitalism or socialism in high school. Is that even in a civics class?
Maybe you weren't paying attention. Maybe
I was
you weren't paying attention. Buddy.
What class did they teach that in? Civics?
Economics, government.
I never took an economics class in high school.
High school has economics, 10th grade. I took economics in 10th grade. No. And believe me, I didn't do well in it, but I took it in 10th grade.
I took American history.
I took
better say hi to her. She might be listening.
Yeah, she might be listening. That's a good point. But you know what? The fact that she was honest, I said, you know, just the fact that you're being that honest with me, I'm willing to come and take a tour of the school because I'm looking at like 7, 8 schools, and that's one of the schools we're looking at. But I said, look, if you're going to public school, I had this conversation the other day upstairs with the 70 people that were here. Here's what I said to them. I said, so many parents are not involved in the day-to-day stuff with the kids. They're just not. You let your kids go to school, and you have no control of what the teacher's going to be teaching your kids. We keep talking about this stuff, right? So you got to be a little bit more involved in what the school is teaching. If you are not teaching capitalism, I said, what programs do you guys have for entrepreneurship? She starts smiling. I said, I don't know. I didn't tell a joke. I'm actually being dead serious. What programs do you have about entrepreneurship? And then she shows me we have an elective. I said, I'm not spending $30,000, $35,000 for an elective.
You know what else is crazy about that? Do the math. I mean, you almost have to be a salesperson if you're in that role of the lady you were talking to yesterday, because you have 2 kids. That's 35 times 2 times what, 8 or 10? That's a lot of money. Compounded? I mean, how much you would pay a school? I mean, the wrong
12-year period.
The wrong answers to you is a 7-figure mistake for that school.
Maybe more, because you're donating the same amount every year. You're kind of donating money as well to the school. If you're a booster, hey, you do this, you do that. So I don't know. Look, it's just all I can say is it's deeply concerning to know that these schools that are private schools are not focused on teaching capitalism, and the people that can afford to pay that kind of money are capitalists most of all. So anyway, so let's talk about what happened in Beverly Hills. Kai, do you want to pull up the video? So apparently, Beverly Hills is becoming a hub for conservative rallies. Go up a little bit with the article to read the main point of the article. How did Beverly Hills become a hub for conservative rallies? So they're going out there protesting in Beverly Hills, 90210 Rodeo Drive, and this is what just happened a couple days ago. Go down and click on that video. There you go. Click on the video, and you can make it a little bigger. There you go. Make it bigger and hit the audio so we can hear it, Kai. Watch this. Listen to that. This is Beverly Hills. Did you hear that? This is insanity.
Looks like the Jerry Springer show. Wow.
Yeah, you're talking about Beverly Hills.
I know.
One of the most expensive real estates. Look at this. Wanting to trash the American flag, dropping the American flag.
Well, they got weapons, too.
Crazy. Kai.
Where's Taggart from Beverly Hills Cop when you need him? He should have been in there breaking that up. You know, it makes sense that they're doing those protests there because it's, you know, you got the backdrop. They're doing it right on Santa Monica Boulevard, right by the iconic, you know, fountains and the Beverly Hills sign. And so you're going to get attention. You're going to get cameras. You're going to get the dissecting opinion to it. And it's going to be like that every single week. They have these every single Sunday. It's become part of Beverly Hills. You don't even go to Beverly Hills anymore. It's got to be killing business. You know, business is horrible to start with in Beverly Hills, but why would you want to go down to a restaurant, one of the nice hotels, or have brunch or anything when that's going on? Because it's a melee every single week down there.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Joe Biden's America. There it is, right there. Oh, no, hon. Trump's still the president right now. That's what's okay. We're still in Trump territory. This is scary
My
stuff.
friend had a gun
This
pulled
is
on
how
him.
divided the country
Beverly
is
Hills.
right now, is that you can't even just go have a peaceful rally. We're going to fist fight because you want to show
Can I give a dark twist to this? I'm going to give you a dark twist to
You
it.
had the Freddy Krueger, you had the Exorcist.
Well,
Let's give the
I'm going to give you
twist.
a crazy twist to this, and tell me what you think about this. Which side has more money, Republicans or Democrats?
You mean the party?
No. The voters. Which side has more money?
Well, the Democrats have more people, so volume. They might. I'll say Republicans. I'll take a guess.
Okay. Well, maybe let me ask the question a different way. Okay. Which side's unemployment is higher?
Democrat. Left.
Which side's
Unless that's a
unemployment
trick
is higher,
question, I'm going to say the
percentage-wise?
Democrats.
Which side has more people unemployed? Democrats or Republicans?
I don't know.
You
Tell
really
me.
say I don't know?
I don't know who.
Can you actually pull that number up? You actually say you don't know?
I don't know.
You say you don't know which side has more Democrats.
I'm saying I
unemployed.
don't know the answer.
Okay. Which side would like to raise taxes and tax the rich people?
Obviously,
the left or the right?
The left.
The left. Okay. Which side historically in the last few elections has is willing to protest and riot and loot and get pretty ugly about it? Which side? Which side? Left or the right?
Both.
You're gonna say evenly?
I'll say both sides right. And
No. You got to say which one's more than the other.
The left.
Okay, fair enough. And this is coming from somebody that is a liberal. You're not a left, but you're a liberal. You're center left. You are not
moderate. Moderate left.
No question about it.
Yes.
I will absolutely agree with that. I'm with you all the
For
time.
all my friends out there, I'm not a freaking socialist.
He's not
I'm not a
at
fucking
all.
Bernie Sanders
Far from
reporter.
it. You wouldn't have the $1 million that you have if you didn't have the money that you have today. If you were. So Adam's a very independent worker. He comes in here, not the first, but he's the last to leave. That's what we can take because he is in Miami time. But here's the part. The part that makes me think is the following. There are those that know how to lose. There are those that don't know how to lose. Okay? What do I mean by this? Those who know how to lose, it's a very difficult thing to learn how to lose. When you lose, you got to go out there and say, I lost. It's very annoying. It's public. It's humiliating. No one likes it. No matter who you are, it's painful. You have to go home to your kids. You have to go home to your wife, to your spouse. And all the haters that you were trying to prove wrong, they're all going to come out and say what?
This is their opportunity.
They're going to come out and say what? I
exa-
told you
exactly.
so. I knew he was going to fail. I knew he was a loser. You have to put up with that. And that noise is going to last a few months till the next time you go around. In sports, you have one shot every 12 months. He doesn't have it. LeBron's, you ask him, give him $1, and you ask for a change, he'll give you 3 quarters back, right? He won't give you 4 quarters because he couldn't win back in the days. You remember that?
I remember that line.
Yeah, okay. So
Till they came to the Heat.
Till they came to the Heat, and then Dwayne Wade bailed him out, right? So you go and hear these stories, and then here's what you think about. When Obama was a president, how many riots did you see?
I don't recall a lot of riots.
A lot of riots. Why not? If somebody was to riot, wouldn't be the opposition? How come we didn't have a lot of riots? Record-breaking deport. I mean, we had more people getting deported than ever before. You know, Reagan gave 3 million people amnesty. Obama said he's going to give amnesty. Never happened. So many Mexicans and Latinos love Reagan because they got amnesty from Reagan. What happened with Obama? Never got it. But how come there was no protesting and riots?
Do you think our country was as divisive as it was now?
No, if not more.
You think it was more divided in 2008?
Let me ask you a question. How do you know we're divided? Who's telling you we're divided?
I mean, I'm just looking at what I see.
But
just
who
seeing
is
images.
The point is, you think it's divided because what the damn TV's telling you that we are divided. Who the hell is the TV?
Mm-hmm. You're saying the media is hyping it up even more.
Of course. If you and I went out to dinner with 50 Democrats, 50 Republicans, whoever it is with our friends, We're going to have a good dinner.
No kidding.
We're going to have a great time.
Or you go to a sporting event and you see people in the stands.
I'm in Chicago. I tell you what, I'm in Chicago. I love going to Chicago because in Chicago, at a bar, I like going to a Chicago bar at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. You can have a drink, have a great conversation, have debate about sports because they love debating their sports and they love debating politics. And you'll have the greatest debate, heated debate, and you leave hugging a guy.
Yeah.
The Bears.
In Chicago, you leave hugging. It's like, oh my gosh, John, I feel like I've known you for years. You give a hug and you leave. Screw you. You go home. But the way the media is painting it out to be.
Totally.
So the reason why I'm giving this point is because you said something. You said, America, welcome to Biden's America. Oh no, it's still Trump's America. They have to paint that during Trump, there's so much division that it's because of Trump. And people buy it. How come we didn't have this kind of division on the Obama side? Because the media is controlled on one side, and the right doesn't riot the way the left riots, and that's a fact. Whether you like, I've been a registered independent for God knows how long now, and that's a fact to see that you don't see that much protesting, rioting on the right, nowhere near as you see it on the right as you see it on the left. So they have to paint the picture as, look what a terrible job Trump is doing today, and unfortunately. That's going to work with certain people. That's going to work with a few people. Maybe that'll flip a few people. But come November 3rd, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think this strategy is going to be as effective as they think it is. In the streets of Beverly Hills for this to be taking place,
that's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
You think it's 90% media, 100% media, 50%
No, I don't think
media?
it's 90% media. I don't think it's 100% media. I do think it's 90% media.
Okay.
Yeah. I think majority of it is the media. I think the majority of it is somebody in someone's ears. Anytime I had an employee that all of a sudden turned against me, like let's just say Tom and I'm not in Tom's ear every other minute, but somebody who doesn't like me constantly calls Tom and bashes me behind closed doors on a call to Tom. I don't know this. So Tom talks to this guy for 3 hours, and I talk to Tom for 15 minutes. If Tom comes to me, Tom's influenced a little bit, whether he likes it or not, because Tom's not on the PBD News Network. He's on somebody else's news network. I don't know if you understand what I just said right there. If you're on the call with somebody and you go, this is why I say the most important appointment of the day is which appointment. I've said this for the last 15 years.
The first appointment, the last appointment of the day. Last appointment of the day.
Most important appointment of the day.
That's like they always say, who's the last person in Trump's ear? Who's the last person?
Most important appointment of the day is the last appointment of the day. This is, if you don't win the wife, you don't win the person. It's the last appointment of the day. So I think the media, unfortunately, for most American people, is the last appointment of the day.
And I'm going to say it's more than 90% because you can say I'm not going to watch the news, and you can make that conscious effort to tune it out. Don't watch the shows at night. Don't watch the newscast. But you're getting it everywhere.
It's 9:59.
Right? You're getting it from your Vanity Fair updates, your People Magazine updates, your Daily Show updates. You're watching comedians on the talk shows at night, on the Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon and everything. It's the same thing. So it's this subliminal message that just pounds you all day long about how divided we are.
Well, I got a conference call right now, 10 o'clock,
okay,
and no one came to warn me, so we got a 10
what?
o'clock, so we got to wrap up. Yeah, it's crazy.
Mario dropped the ball here.
By the way, it's the biggest podcast we've ever done. It's the biggest live we've ever had on this channel, folks. It looks like you enjoyed this one. We appreciate you guys for coming and joining us. Click that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel. Click to the alert button. By the way, I don't know yet if I'm going to be doing a podcast this Thursday because I may have some travel plans, but we will let you know come Wednesday. If it is going to be going live and you're subscribing to the channel, you will see it. If not, you won't see it, and we'll come back again next week. But either way, we had a blast with you today. If you're loving this format, give us a subscribe button, give us an alert button, and put a thumbs up on the podcast today. Gentlemen, great job today. We had a good time. This was great. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.
See you guys. Thank you.